leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
Dribbles in and shoots with 1 second. It's good with 0.3 to go. And that'll make the final score 111-96. And a season that was defined by injury has come to a close. The Golden State Warriors just one game removed from a stirring victory over the LA Clippers in a fantastic fourth quarter. Just ran out of gas here in Phoenix. And give the Suns credit. They had a great game plan. They pressured the Warriors all night long, forced 21 turnovers, and come away with a win.
Well, the great Tim Roy there. Final call of the Golden State Warriors 2025-26 season as they fall in the play-in game to the Phoenix Suns. And as a result, Dan Devone, Steve Risotto, a.k.a. Pasta, Evan Giddings with you here for our final Warriors this week of the season. What's up, Dan, my man?
How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty well, actually. Yeah. I am doing pretty well. Pasta's got to be better about getting this light on before the show or not having it just beam into my face the moment that I roll out of bed, okay? If I'm in the dark, I'm in the dark, but get me set up a little sooner, please.
Well, it's because you go so hard on Friday nights that you don't like anything with any sort of light or sunshine. If it were up to you, you would still be under the covers and we'd be doing the show from your bedroom.
That's a plausibility. What I need to do is send quickly a PSA to the marina, to your people. I wouldn't call them Pasta's people.
Oh, not my people.
We got to find some better pool players.
Yeah,
I'm dead serious. Before we get into the game, we were out last night at Monahan's watching the game. Shout out to Carter Chickering. Wife let him out of the house, didn't have the baby. And Lucas Alexander came on by.
When you say let him out of the house, he literally crosses the street.
I was going to say, yeah, he lives right around the block. It's the only place that he's allowed to go to a bar. So thank you, Sierra. But we're sitting there playing some pool before the game, getting ready to watch the Warriors and the Suns. And I want to watch this game because obviously we got to talk about it, but you never know. It could be the final game of the season. And we're sitting there playing pool, and no one is kicking us off the table. You got to win to take the table. So finally, it gets to be about halftime after about an hour and a half of us running different guys. Me and my brother were playing twos, and finally I just say, have the table. Take the table. I want to watch the rest of this game right now because the Warriors at that time, Dan, were down by 5. I don't know about you when you were watching that game, but to me, at about halftime, first half didn't go their way, but it was one of those quintessential kind of Warriors first halves where it's like, it felt like they got the crap kicked out of them, but then they're only down by 5 points. And unfortunately, they didn't have a second half push the way they did against the Clippers.
I think kind of got the feeling following that game against the Clippers. I don't want to say get into 2020 hindsight, but following that game against the Clippers, you knew that once all the euphoria sort of died down, what was one of the most amazing games I have seen in years, that once the focus became, okay, what's next? The Phoenix Suns, there was this sense of trepidation, like, uh-oh. Because after that game against the Clippers, as Anthony Slater wrote, there was a lot of ice packs, a lot of guys walking around that were limping, and the idea of them getting ready to go on the road and do this all over again was going to be challenging.
Well, and also because they didn't have as much rest as the Suns did, who played a very physical game the day before the Warriors beat the Clippers to advance to that final play-in game. And, look, we're going to talk about everything that happened during the season, sort of what last night meant, where you go from here. But the fact remains that game last night was one that was lost on Wednesday. That game was lost as soon as the Warriors came from back down 13 points in the fourth quarter. They looked like champions one final time. And you could just kind of tell in their voices after the game that it was almost like that was good enough. Not that they didn't want to beat Phoenix. Not that they couldn't beat Phoenix. But, Dan, they felt like champs one last time, and it's almost like because of the way that the season had gone with them unable to put together a complete performance, like that was their icing on the cake. And so against Phoenix, and you got to give them credit too, Jalen Green was absolutely sensational last night. Torched them for 36 points and 8 threes. I thought they got into the grill of the Warriors. The referees swallowed their whistles a lot. It was a rock fight, but the Warriors just did not have enough left against a Phoenix team that's now advancing to play the Thunder.
Yeah, and you could say that goes back to something that I've been pounding the table about all year long, and that is this was all sort of predictable. And that's the word, I heard, might have been this show, but one of the themes that you hear kicked up frequently this time of the year, if there was one word to describe this Warriors season, yeah, actually it was with the Morning Joes, and I think it was Spadoni asking Shasky, if there's one word to describe this Warriors season, what would it be? And to me, it's very simple. It's predictable. This is just, to me, very, very predictable. I'm not exhausted, surprised, disappointed. It's just all of this, to me, was just very predictable. But I do want to talk about Wednesday, whereas as predictable, and I was proven right when it's all said and done with. But that Wednesday night, that was Dan Devone eating crow. That was Steve Kerr giving me and everybody else that subscribes to hitting reset and starting anew the middle finger one last time. And I'm with you. I think that game on Wednesday night, as Steve Kerr said, and you could just see the emotion and you could sense that was their last dance, that was, as he said, for one night, we were champions again. And I think that's all they wanted. Obviously, as you mentioned, they would love to beat Phoenix. They would love to beat OKC. But I think they all knew collectively, and if you saw emotionally and just physically the way they acted after that game,
yeah,
and how they just absorbed everything and stayed on the court, that it was dialing back the clock and that this was all worth it, that we got to do this for one night.
Yeah, Curry was sensational in that game. Draymond defensively, what he did on Kawhi Leonard was superb. And you're right, to all the people that said that they couldn't do it anymore, they were too old, they got to laugh in your face for one night. But you guys have also been pounding the table for this is not going to be sustainable, right? And the word I think that was used on our show was inevitable. Kind of the same deal.
Thing.
Same deal. Inevitable. It was inevitable that the Warriors would eventually run out of steam. And one of the reasons why I thought the Warriors could win last night, but very quickly changed my mind watching that game because they just looked like they were out of gas. And two, Dan, they haven't put together quality performances all but I think twice this season and no times after Jimmy Butler got hurt as far as beating back-to-back quality teams, which they would have had to do, obviously, to advance to play the Thunder. And it just felt a little bit like the Clippers game, honestly, to me, where the Warriors were pushing, but they could never get it to lower than 5 or 4.
Well, they got it to 2, but then immediately would get
comes
stretched back up to 6 to 8 to 10 again.
And that's kind of what happened against LA, which is why I thought it was a great game. It's like they were down double digits, it felt like 4 or 5 times. Yeah. But then they had that last push in them in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, against the Suns, they were running on you the whole time.
Well, they would reach down and there was nothing there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that game against Phoenix, again, to me, that was an inevitability. And I think it's sort of, I don't think it's not lost to me and a bit ironic that when you think about the guys that disappeared last night, Steph Curry, I don't know if it was the knee or just simply he didn't have his legs, but wasn't the same guy. And you're waiting for that Curry flurry. You're waiting for that just go on a flurry here, just rally this team. Is it coming? Is it coming? And it never arrived. And Al Horford wasn't Al Horford. Porzingis wasn't Porzingis. And Draymond was a half step slower. And I don't think he had the same energy as he had the other night. Meanwhile, when you look at Podziemski, and you look at Guy Santos, well, maybe they weren't as effective, but the energy is still there. And what does that tell you? That's true. Young guys, it's a young man's world. And the older players just simply, they can't do it. They can't do it on one day's rest, especially when you need to expend that sort of energy to beat a team like that of Phoenix.
Well, and that's why we were talking about it yesterday.
I just said Podziemski, so I'm sure the YouTube line just lit up, right? Like a Christmas tree.
I'd like to think that people are coming back, not to the place of, all right, if you hate him, you're back on our side. But I do think that people are at least giving him a little bit more respect. I mean, he played 41 minutes against the Clippers, helped the Warriors weather a first-half storm to the point where Curry and Draymond could take him home along with Horford in that fourth quarter. Last night, he was their best player. I mean, that's just a fact. He did 23 and 10 on 17 shots, and he Look, he made some boneheaded turnovers. The Warriors as a team did, right? Draymond had 5. Curry had 4. To me, last night was a night where, Podziemski and Santos, similar to the game against the Clippers, they weren't the guys that killed you, but they're not good enough to help you win a game like that. That's where you need your stars, your Currys, your Porzingises, Green, Horford, your champions. That's where you needed your champions to take that one home, because Pods and Santos are just not that guy. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it back-to-back games. I thought Curry looked a little old last night on the heels of a fantastic Wednesday game. You know what actually kind of reminded me of? And obviously he's been fighting the runner's knee. I don't think he's 100%. I don't think Porzingis was obviously 100%. He was limping off the floor in L.A., only played 15 minutes last night. But it reminded me of the game, these 2 games. When Curry came back against Houston, he looked unbelievable. Didn't play for 2 months, had 29 and 26 minutes. You're like, damn, this guy still got it. And do you remember that Tuesday game against the Kings? They barely won that game. And Curry looked kind of like a shell of himself. It was just like doing it multiple times consecutively is so much more difficult for a guy who's 38 years old. And it's not to take anything away from him, Dan, but I think you do have to question moving forward your strategy. And I know you hate this, but at some point during this show, we got to get to some sound, because Curry, I thought, also admitted as much, which we'll hear from after the game. But for him to be able to do it again and again next season or in the future, the Warriors are going to have to do a lot of recalibration.
Yeah, well, we'll get into next year and what the future holds for this Warrior team, but especially against the Phoenix Suns last night, that was a bad recipe, because the Warriors, as an aging basketball team, the last thing you want to meet is a buzzsaw that doesn't necessarily have the talent, even like that of the Clippers or the majority of the teams, I would say, that are still standing in the NBA this time of the year. But how do they do it? They do it with energy, and they do it with buy-in on both ends of the floor. I mean, guys like Brooks, it starts with Dillon Brooks and his attitude, but Goodwin and Booker and Dunn and all of those guys, O'Neal, it's all about hustle. It's all about everybody putting a body on somebody when a shot goes up. It's about 4 guys crashing the board. It's about pressuring you, and that's the last thing that the Warriors wanted to deal with last night. Yeah, tip your cap to Jalen Green. Boy, what a difference a year makes. Remember last year, it was like, yeah, Jalen, shoot. Shoot as much as you want, brother.
I got to apologize. Before the game last night, I was just thinking, all right, make your first 2, because then you're going to keep shooting, and you're going to shoot Phoenix out of the game. Well, damn it, he didn't miss. That second half 30-footer, he just drilled. I was sitting there thinking, stop. He takes the shot from way out high, ball's going up, and you're just thinking, oh, my God. Drops in. He played 40 minutes last night. He was, and I got to give him credit too. They had Booker, Brooks, Curry was on the floor. I did not think Jalen Green could be the best player in a basketball game like that. And not only was he in that game, that was on the heels of scoring 35 against the Blazers on Tuesday night. So he seems like a much different player than he was last season, when he just absolutely shrunk in that Rockets series.
Yeah, he shot him out of a series basically. So yeah. He played well last night, but I think collectively...
None of those games count, by the way.
Yeah, they got to stop that. Really,
those box scores ain't going anywhere, man.
The whole thing is sort of... I was listening or reading Rob Parker, and he was talking about how this is just a farce. And nothing against the Warriors. Listen, as much as I'm against sort of the plan, I think it's sort of hokey. The fact they got that opportunity to do what it is that they did in front of the country on Wednesday night was worth it. I think we'd all agree here in the Bay Area, yeah, go play in. I'm all for it. But if you really think about it, a team that's sub 500, if they got into the playoffs, why are we even playing the regular season? If you're a number 7 seed and you get knocked out of that thing because you had 2 bad games, like, what is it that I just did for 82 games where I was over 500 and vying for a 5 or 6 seed, and all of a sudden I'm out of it because of this stupid little playing thing? I mean, it's a little, they bastardize sort of the entire postseason and sort of the NBA season to a certain degree. And I just don't know how I feel about the plan, because on one end, I think it's really sort of weak. But if it supplies moments like it did the other night on Wednesday night, then I'm all for it, because that was really amazing.
Well, that's my only issue, is that those performances don't count. And they do. Like, we're going to remember some of those moments.
Can we just call it the playoffs? Why can't we just call it the playoffs?
Because you're not in the playoffs.
Well, but
it's like this. It's like this
postseason
purgatory that they got set up for you to figure whether you get through the pearly gates or not.
Well, what's the definition of post-play?
I call it postseason because it's after the regular season, but it's not. I don't know, man. It's like this weird, strange intermediary world. But I will say this: it's a game 7. I mean, I know that you're not playing OKC and it's not a championship, but these are elimination games that the Warriors just played in, 2 of them. And honestly, I know the Orlando Charlotte game was a dud. I know the Warriors lost by 15, but that game was closer to me until Phoenix, pulled away at the end. But I don't mind the play-in just because you're getting to see an NCAA style in the NBA, and you're going to see what guys are really made of. It's why I got to give Jalen Green a lot of respect. It's why Steph Curry, I think he can still do it on given nights. It's like, I think that the play-in to me is the competition level is absolutely there. They just have to do a better job at, I guess, making it mean something. I don't know. Well,
some of the things that I've heard kicked around is that maybe you just do it for the 8, 9, 10 seed and have whoever wins the play-in gets the 8 seed. But to put the 7 seed
like 8, 9 plays to play the 7 kind of deal.
No, well, it's to exclude the 7 seed, however it is that you do that. Because if I'm a 7 seed and I play 82 games and I'm 10 games over 500 and I've been jostling between, I have my eye on the 6 seed or the 5 seed or even the 4 seed at one point, and then for whatever reason I put together 2 stinkers and I'm out, like for a team that was sub 500, it's like, what the hell did I just grind 7 months for? Like
that's CC?
There's a bit of, that's not me, it's you again. What are you talking about? I don't even know where my phone is.
I think it's in your pocket, but just put it on sleep for a second.
So I don't know where I'm at with this with the postseason when it comes to, if you're a 7 seed, what's the point of playing an entire season if you just get? I mean, you have to look at it from that perspective. I get it if you're a 10. It's like, oh, all right, we get an opportunity even though we're sub 500. But I think you also have to look at it from the other end. If you're a 7 seed and you're like, really, we just got bounced from this little hokey thing that they put together just to generate some interest in the NBA. What they got to do is get their arms around tanking and forget about the play-in, right?
Well,
actually, you know what's nice about this is all of a sudden all the tanking teams are removed and you get into real basketball, which was fun.
Well, and by the way, the Warriors have lottery odds now. They will have a lottery pick this year.
2% to get the number 1.
Well, Dallas Mavericks had, I think, 1.4 or 1.6 to get the number 1 overall pick.
They had 9.
The Dallas Mavericks last year?
Yeah, they were the 11th seed. Or they were number 11.
I thought they had maybe it was a 9% chance to get into the top 4, but the one I think was very small.
Maybe you're right.
Anyways, but yeah, the Warriors had, for a lot of people that wanted them to get into the lottery, they get what they want. 888-957-9570 is the number.
On that note, do we have callers?
Well, Pasta's grabbing one right now.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
So if you're a Los Angeles Clipper fan, I don't know if you are.
Oh, you're pissed.
I mean, you're thinking, okay, well, we got bounced at least now. We can think about the Dallas Mavericks, and we're in the lottery, and we're the 11th. We're going to have the slotted at number 11.
Psych.
They got the number 1 pick.
Psych.
Maybe we can get a Cooper flag. Think again.
Maybe we can get our next Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Oh, wait, our pick is going to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
So OKC, who could easily win the NBA championship, is going to get that Clipper pick, and they'll be choosing in this year's lottery. They get the 9% chance. AJ DeBanson could be with OKC next year.
Screw Paul George. Paul George is responsible for all of this. But by the way, they have a first-round series that I think actually is going to be pretty interesting against the Celtics.
Yeah, you don't want to play Philly.
Without Embiid. They played very well without Embiid.
All the things that guy's got to deal with now, an appendectomy? Like,
that's one of the most random injuries of all time. And I know he's a walking piece of glass, but man, that guy cannot stay on the floor. 888-957-9570 is the number. Dan Devone, Evan Giddings with you on Warriors this week. Final one of the season. We're taking your calls. How'd you feel about last night? How do you feel about the season? We are going to get into some Steve Kerr sound, some kind of a ominous sound. I don't know how you interpret some of this, but we'll get to it, along with Curry and Draymond, kind of the triumvirate that we saw hugging at midcourt right by the Warriors bench after that game. Curry was he said he was reluctant to kind of lean into it after the game. It felt strange, but it seemed to me, Dan, to be a lot like after Wednesday, where Kerr was talking about them as being champions for a night. There's this feeling of uncertainty. I don't know if it's a finality or a conclusion to whatever this, part or chapter of their relationship is, the three of them. But Kerr does not have a contract. Draymond Green has a chance to go into his final year next year, maybe rip it up, do an extension. Curry's got 1 year left on his deal. There is a lot of uncertainty, I think, with the Warriors after a season like this and after a game like that, where I also thought that quickly, you mentioned how, the 7-8, you have 2 bad games and you're out. That's why last night away, to me, it was bigger for the Phoenix Suns. You were at home. That was a game you were supposed to win. And you went 45-37 this year. You did overachieve. Meanwhile, the Warriors were trying to limp in and sort of sneak into this postseason format. And overall, I just think that the Warriors are in a place of they got a lot of questions they got to answer. And a night like last night was, I think, kind of a fitting ending to a roller coaster ride, like a tumultuous season. But a game that I think Phoenix needed more than Golden State.
How about that emotional moment, and then immediately following that, in the final 30 seconds, Draymond Green gets kicked out of the game?
Well, that's a classic Scott Foster game.
How fitting was that?
I mean, come on, Dre. Well, honestly, as far as ejections go, it really wasn't too bad.
No, but it's almost like he wanted to go out like that. I almost feel as though, was there a line on that? I'm like, somebody probably had maybe there was a bet that he's like, I'm just going to end this season by getting kicked out.
Well, I did want to place a bet on Draymond Green getting a tech. The one I would have lost is on Dylan Brooks getting a tech.
He didn't.
He did not.
No.
He was on his best behavior.
Yeah, both of them were.
He was good in the first half too. I know Brooks can hit the broadside of a bar in that third quarter, but he was pretty good last night. The Warriors turned the ball over 20 times, just like they did against the Clippers. But last night, and this is really what we've learned about them this season, when the three ball's not falling, they're not going to win basketball games. That was a game last night where it felt like Phoenix was flying around. Warriors had some good looks, but for the most part, could not get it going. Someone like, there's a play in the fourth quarter where, and it was just an indication of where this game was going. Phoenix comes down. Royce O'Neal hits one of his 3 threes. Warriors go into their set. Guy Santos ends up wide open in the corner and just bricks a 3. And it was one of those nights for Golden State where they could not hit the shots they needed to. And Phoenix capitalized on every mistake the Warriors made.
I think they have opportunities now with Porzingis to get easier baskets to get you on track. And they don't take advantage of that. And you know how I feel about that. And I don't want to go there, stick the big guy down in the post. But I think there are times.
He looked hurt last night, Dan.
There were times, no, I know. But in that first half, I would just, because Phoenix went small last night. They basically said, we're going to run. We're going to run them out of the gym. And there were opportunities where Porzingis just has a height advantage. Where you can he was on Booker, for crying out loud. Just get his butt under the hoop, get some easy buckets if it's not falling from 3, and maybe that'll get you on track, seeing the ball go through the hoop and get some easy ones. But he's a stretch 5. Stretch 4, my God. I love the stretch 5. He's a unicorn. Well, if you're 7'2", get your ass under the hoop occasionally and get me an easy one. Give me a jump hook. Give me something. Give me a putback. Not everything has to be a 35-footer from a guy who's 7'2".
Well, that's why you won the game against the Clippers. He was knocking down 35-footers.
But I get it, but sometimes there's got to be a balance. And if I'm not making threes and I'm up against a shorter lineup, let's get on track a different way.
Well, that's one of the reasons I think they struggled is
Horford was good at that last night.
Phoenix went small last night.
Yeah, they did.
They were fast. Porzingis, he's a little light in the ass, Dan. I don't know if he can back down some of these guys.
Horford did a good job of just getting to backing some guys down and going to his little turnaround Jimmy.
Yeah, Horford. All right, 888-957-9570 is the number. Right before we hit a break here, let's start off with Jan. Jan in Mountain View. Roll out the red carpet. Jan, it's good to hear from you. Sorry the season is over, but we're here. What's going on? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, the proof is in the pudding. Phoenix had the extra day that the Warriors didn't, and this is why you need to get more help for Steph Curry to preserve him as long as we have him, and we can appreciate him, but they did not have it last night, and the turnovers were killing us, unlike the L.A. game. L.A. had a lot of turnovers, too, and we were able to capitalize on them. Well, last night, the roles were reversed, and Phoenix, had your number, and they capitalized off of those. And Jalen Green was able to go off for 30-plus points. And unlike the L.A. game, we could not come back, and they kept getting down. And I thought, oh, heavens, here we go again. And I just, I'm just looking in the mirror, and I'm saying, I hope that you can get if you decide to trade the pick away or whatever you do, you better get somebody in here or a couple of veterans that are in their prime, for heaven's sakes. I'm tired of, seeing people that cannot, Kozinski and Santos, bless their hearts, and how hard they played and everything, but they're not the answer, and you need more firepower and, people that can shoot and can, stop turning the ball over. Heavens. Lord, I just can't believe that's what an older team does. They turn the ball over too much. And last night I just said, well, I don't think they have it. And they had a good season, but, it wasn't good enough. And when Jimmy went down, it kind of sealed it. But they tried to fight back and not give up. And I handed to them, but they need to do more, and they need to get better and faster. So thank you for having them on the air every week, every day almost. But it had to come to an end, and better luck next year, and we'll be I'll be tuning in like usual. So
yep,
and listening like I always do. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're the best, Jan. Thank you so much.
Good to see she's back on her game.
No doubt.
She was a little off last week. Remember, she was on IR. She wasn't feeling very good.
That's right. She had something going on. Well, I'm glad, too. I don't want people to be sad today. And season's over, but there's still a lot ahead. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Well, you're telling me the summer's not important?
Are you referring to the Giants, or what is it that we got to look forward to?
Well, you got to figure out what you're going to do with that guy.
Oh, it's a huge off season.
That's what I'm saying. You got a big off season coming up.
But I don't know if that's cause for optimism.
Well,
if you did it my way, it'd be optimistic, but you know what they're going to do. They're going to screw this thing.
By the way, your Charlotte Hornets looked really good last night, Dan. Yeah, they look like a team that's a player away. Lost by 40. Sorry.
Steph would go there.
Yeah, because he's changing the outcome of that game last night.
It doesn't matter.
Couldn't even beat the Suns.
As long as I get their draft picks.
888-957-9570 is the number. Warriors this week rolls on the other side.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
This is Larry Flick, owner of The Floor Store. Our spring sale, now through April 27th, might be our biggest sales event ever. Means up to 50% off every single product store-wide. And we have Northern California's largest in-stock selection of carpet, hardwood, laminate, waterproof flooring, and much more. It also means 2 full years of interest-free financing. What it really means, this is going to be a spring to remember. Visit floorstores.com to find the nearest Bay Area showroom. From Santa Rosa to San Jose, The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
Let's talk about a big win on and off the field. This April, donate blood with Stanford Blood Center and you're automatically entered to win 2 luxury suite tickets for the Giants versus the Diamondbacks on May 25th at Oracle Park. We're talking suite level, great views, all the food and drinks included. Your one donation saves lives, and it puts you in the best seats in the house. Make the call to donate today. Visit StanfordBloodCenter.org for an appointment.
The draft is here. Catch 95.7 The Game live Thursday, April 23rd with Willard and Dibbs from 2 to 6 at the Draft Sports Pub in Pleasanton. Watch every pick and talk football with us. Presented by Ashby Lumber and Marvin. Thoughtfully designed for the way you live.
I'm Neil, founder of Clay Room. When I found ceramics, I realized my calling was to give others the space to be creative. So I set out to open my own studio. Having a Chase Ink card has allowed us to grow it and bring people together. Now we're molding a creative community.
With the Chase Ink Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
You listen to 95.7 The Game for the best sports insights. Now, use that same power to grow your business. When you advertise with us, you're reaching a massive audience of local consumers and business decision makers every day. Let our team help you build a game plan that delivers results. Scale your business and win the market. To get started, visit Advertise with 957 The Game at Odyssey.com. That's Advertise with 957 The Game at AUDACY.com.
This is Vanessa Deniston, senior attorney at the Dolan Law Firm.
The Dolan Law Firm handles a diverse line of cases from personal injury to employment law.
We're proud to say the Dolan Law Firm is just as diverse in our attorneys and staff. The Dolan Law Firm consistently achieves outstanding results with over $1 billion in verdicts and settlements.
The Dolan Law Firm, the best, most diverse personal injury and employment law firm we hope you'll never need.
Contact us at dolanlawfirm.com.
Elevate your kitchen at the Mila Innovation Center at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill. Out of your dreams and into your kitchen. Select the qualifying built-in kitchen appliance package that is right for you. With unrivaled technology and luxury-grade quality, when you bring home a Mila, you're bringing home true innovation. Now, for a limited time, save up to 10% with the purchase of a qualifying Mila kitchen package. Visit the Mila Innovation Center at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or at friedmansappliance.com.
Ragnar the Terrible got a job at a big bank. Let's listen. So what's it like being a 5th century warlord?
Same as big bank. We conquer and extort gold from conquest.
Huh. We just lower our customers' deposit rates and raise their fees.
And if they argue, put on their floorboards and crush while dining.
So smart. Star One isn't like the big banks. We think banking should be pain-free, with lower loan rates, higher deposit rates, and friendly customer service. Star One, in your best interest.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in select zip codes only. Cancel anytime. Non-refundable fee. Product purchase required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
The 2026 Mountain Winery concert season is here, with performances by Dana Carvey and David Spade in June, Trevor Noah in July, and many more. To see the 2026 schedule and a chance to win tickets to one of the shows, courtesy of Mountain Winery, visit 957thegame.com.
Brings it down the right wing. Left-hand dribble middle, out to Guy Santos, over to Steph Curry. He's open for three, got it. At Golden State, back-to-back three balls have cut the lead to 7.
Now back to Warriors This Week on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those nights where just you kept making a push, and then every time you feel like you're about to turn the corner, you feel like Phoenix might begin to fold. Jalen Green hits a big shot. Booker hits a big shot. Brooks nails a big three. O'Neal, Goodwin. Shout out to the St. Louis Billikens. Jordan Goodwin. I mean, it's just one of those games where the Suns had an answer for every Warriors. Kind of I won't say run, but like beginning of a run. And they didn't have enough to sustain it over the course of the 48. So they go down 111-96. Season is over. The Warriors fall in the second play-in game, the 8th seed play-in game, as the Suns move on to face OKC, and the Warriors go right into the lottery, where a lot of people wanted them. So I thought, Dan, that this play-in tournament, it was going to be really hard for them to win back-to-back road games because they hadn't really done it the entire season. I think the last time they beat 2 playoff teams on the road was all the way back in early November when they beat the Spurs in those back-to-back games. But obviously that's kind of in the infancy of the season. I think some people thought that, this new group together was going to be able to kind of cobble it. You know what I honestly thought Wednesday was? It was a one-night stand. It was just a great night with no expectations, no strings attached. It was the Warriors' one-night stand with everybody together. And last night is kind of what they looked like most of the year.
They should have been like Notre Dame and just refused to play in the bowl game, meaning just refuse to play against the Suns. Just walk off, knowing that was going to be the lasting impression. That's what you want, just like tattooed on the brains of all Warrior fans forever. Like this is us. We went out as champions. We're not even going to play against the Suns because we know we have no chance. That Wednesday night game was so fun. So fun. And for a night, if you wanted to point a finger at me and my takes throughout the entire season, I was dead wrong. And I could eat crow for a night. And Steve Kerr had every right to say, screw you, Dan Avone, or F you, Dan Avone. We can still be that team. And that's what that night was. And I think Steve Kerr, as well as Steph and Draymond, they knew it. It's almost like it was this innate sort of like, yeah, man, let's just soak this in, man, because this is going to be the last time we ever do this. Like, we did it. We did it, man. Think what you will about the play-in. Think about, how old we are, all that crap. For one night, we dialed back the clock. Draymond was Draymond. He was the best defender in the world. Steph went nuclear, and Steve Kerr pushed all the right buttons, and we were the Warriors again with veterans, and we won on the road. Let's just soak this in. I can't believe when I saw the way they were after the game, it told me everything, that was just a one-off. That was it. That was it. It's like, who cares what happens from this point forward? There's a good chance Steve won't be here. None of this is going to – Draymond may not be here. This is all over with. We got this one night. And watching them after the game, look, if you're a good basketball team, if this is the Warriors of old, you just took care of business against the Clippers, you would have been like, good job, man, a couple of high fives. Let's get back into the locker room and prepare for Phoenix. They soaked that thing up, Ev, like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They lingered onto that floor. Draymond Green was hugging everybody. Steph Curry and Draymond and Steve Kerr had this emotional hug where they pointed at each other at midcourt and they embraced. And I was like, wow. They're letting everybody know that this was it. And Steve Kerr said as much afterwards. He literally pounded the table and said, for one night, we were champions again. That was it.
Was that Pasta or was that Kerr?
That was the pounding of the table.
Oh.
Wow. Pasta's too much.
What is it?
So I think it was...
No, I'm with you, man.
You know what it was? I don't know if you're a Broadway play guy, but it was like...
Glengarry Ross.
It was like Les Miserables. Like it was final night of Les Miserables after like a 12-year run. This is it. Roses coming from the top balcony. Just the applause, and then Steve Kerr coming back out for a curtain call, and it's the last night. Hey! And it was just, that's what it reminded me of. This is it. But this point forward, people, this is when Dan Avone takes over, whether you like it or not. And now that you get the emotion out of the way, now that reality sets in, it's time for a change. But we can ease into that. Yeah, we can.
Well, I was just about to say. I don't want to hit you over
the head at 9:30 in the morning.
No, it's 9:40. Wednesday was about the past.
By the way, anybody who mentions their name in the third person, be very aware. Anybody who's calling themselves Dan Avone and is Dan Avone, that's not right.
Well, some people can do it. Ricky Henderson could do it. Ricky loves some Ricky.
You hear that story?
Rest in power.
Will Clark tells that story
Which one?
Well, it was like he was at first base, and it was a preseason game, and the manager said, "Rick, you want to preserve your legs. You're not running. No stealing in today's game." And Will's like, the first base coach was saying this, and Will's spring training, so Will's like, "No, just go, man. Go. Come on, you're Ricky Henderson." He's like, "I know. I want to go, man. I want to go." And he's like, "Just go." He's like, "Yeah, Ricky gone. and he's like, the first base coach is like, "Don't do it." Next pitch, Ricky steals second base, looks back at Will Clark. He's like, "I told you, Ricky gone. Ricky gone." I love that man.
He is the man. By the way, at 11 o'clock, we got Dr. Joaquin Wallace is going to join us. He works
what?
I forgot about this. Pasta reminded me. What? He's a
whoa.
I booked a guest.
Let's re-huddle again. Just like, Curry.
We can talk about that in 20 minutes. This is my show right now. Dr. Joaquin Wallace is joining us at 11.
The hell is he?
He's the color analyst for the Santa Cruz Warriors.
Oh, okay. So he's
a buddy. Yeah.
You got to do this.
No, he talks ball. Yeah, he's going to help us break down the Warriors. Maybe you and him can talk about how you got to get rid of the past.
You know what? I'm going to the kitchen and making some ramen.
Well,
for 10 minutes. You tell me
he's
when
not a mystery guest, though.
What?
He's not a mystery guest.
No, he's not a mystery guest.
No, because he just told us who he was.
Well, yeah, that's you usually promote the guest. I know that sometimes that flies over your head.
The hell is he going to talk about?
The Warriors.
He's a doctor for St. Brendan's 8th grade grammar school?
He's not a doctor from that standpoint, but he has his doctorate. That's why he's a doctor. You and I weren't able to get to that point because, well, quite frankly, we didn't really care.
And there was something called happy hour that got in the way. You could just go and roll a fat one.
Yeah, I was at Monahan's. I wasn't studying. Let's go out to Trevor.
You're Moneyball. Or you're not Moneyball. You're Color of Money. That's who you are.
Oh, yeah?
Look it up. Tom Cruise.
Oh, I know. That's Paul Newman's lone Oscar for Best Actor. You can take a kid out of Brooklyn, but you can't. What's this? Boston. You're killing me early. Let's go to Trevor in Rohnert Park. Wants to talk about the Warriors. 888-957-9570, by the way. Trevor, good morning, man. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, guys. Just a couple of things I wanted to talk about with Steph Curry and getting a little bit older. I still think he's got a lot left in the tank, and I think if you look at the way the Warriors played this year, it's a lot less about Curry being able to string together multiple games where he's got the energy level that he needs to perform at a high level. More, it's about the supporting cast, right? So that's what I'm seeing. When you see a game like last night, there are a lot of things that were going on there. One is nobody on the Warriors could hit the broadside of a barn, and you could see that Phoenix was kind of daring anybody else besides Curry to shoot the ball once they kind of figured out that nobody on the Warriors was having a good night. And if you watch that game, there were some pretty incredible shots that Phoenix Suns made that probably shouldn't have gone in the basket, it felt like. You watch how the Warriors played the Suns all year, and the Warriors beat the Suns 3 out of 4, didn't they? So I wouldn't say they had I think it was 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 3 times. I think it was 3 out of 4. I would say the Warriors had a better shot. In my mind, I was thinking had a better shot. I thought the Clippers were a better team than Phoenix.
But what you're not taking into account is the fact that they played that game against the Clippers, and emotionally and physically, it's not so much the Suns, but it was the Warriors. Again, when you're an older basketball team and 48 hours later you got to turn around and play in the biggest game of the season, you just didn't have the energy of the legs, I guess is the point that we're trying to make.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you to a certain extent on that. I just think that Curry getting a little bit older and having a not a back-to-back, but pretty close to that with a huge game was not the reason they lost. There was many other reasons aside from that. But, hey, I do think this offseason is going to be a pretty important one. I don't think you're only looking at 1 or 2 more years of Steph Curry. I think he can play for another 3 or 4 years. At the level he's playing now, he's falling off slowly, but not that much. So you have some time with Curry, not a lot, but you have some. They've got draft picks. I do think this offseason is an important one for the Warriors, and I do expect to see some younger talent come in. We just don't have consistency. You look at the whole all you need to know is about how they played the Clippers and then they played the Suns. No consistency. One night they look good, another night they look bad. On top of injuries, it just wasn't a good year. But I do think the offseason is an important one, and I think they can still put together a good team. And I do think that the way Steve Kerr talked last night after the game to those two gentlemen does sound a lot like maybe his run is over, though.
I got you, Trevor. I'll agree to an extent. How about that? Curry was one of the reasons they lost last night. Like, who of the players who played in both games, the Clippers and the Suns, who are the most consistent players?
Santos and Podziemski.
Your young guys. And I realize that they're not the best players on the team, but they were your most consistent players. Why? Because they're 23 years old. Because they can handle 30 to 39 minutes with a day's rest. Steph Curry at this stage, especially considering his runner's knee, which he has described as potentially being a, quote, new normal, which should scare everybody. I cannot go into next season assuming that Steph is going to just be that guy again for 60-plus games and then for 2 months in a postseason. They lost last night because their best players are too old and too inconsistent. They burnt themselves out against the Clippers, and they were great. Curry was, I'm not trying to take away Wednesday. Curry was sensational, but he couldn't do it 2 games in a row. And that, to me, is what the new normal is for the Warriors and what they're going to have to address this offseason. The new normal is that you're champions. And if you want to throw Horford and KP in there, you can, because I think there's a good chance they're back next year. The new normal is those guys, you cannot expect them to do it in the postseason game after game after game and just expect to beat teams. That's what the new normal is for the Warriors. And so I hate to disagree with you, Trevor, but Curry did not play well last night. He was 4 for 16. He was chucking. He was missing short. It didn't look like he had legs under him. And that's because of how much he expended himself on Wednesday when he was great. But I cannot just assume that that's a one-off and that the Phoenix Suns won just because they were making Hail Mary shots. No, they beat the Warriors last night. And it's because the Warriors broke down.
And I think this goes back to last year, which is why none of this is new to me. And again, why I think all of this was inevitable. A lot of people, in fact, I would say the overwhelming majority of people feel as though if Steph Curry was healthy, they were going to beat Minnesota. And I disagree with that. And again, it goes back to what it is that you just laid out, is that even last year, and it's one of the reasons why Steph got hurt, is because he had to exert so much energy. And what happens when you're an older player, you become vulnerable and susceptible to injuries. And not only that, in that series against Minnesota, where was Jimmy Butler? He was so good against Houston. He was so good towards the end of the season. But when you, again, expend that much energy, you just don't have anything left in the tank at the most important part of the campaign, which was to beat Minnesota. He couldn't carry the load, which is why he became so dependent on Jonathan Kuminga. And so my point in all of this is that the earmarks have been there for a while. And the fact that you continue to rely on this, knowing that these are not players, and especially the way the playoffs are formatted now, where you only get essentially 1 or 2 days off, this is not a recipe for sustainability or success. It wasn't, in my opinion, going into this season, and it certainly isn't, nor should it be going forward. So my question, Ev, really is that we can continue to talk about Wednesday night, which I thought was amazing, and we certainly should break down what happened last night, but the 800-pound gorilla in the room is, what do we do next? Where do we go from here?
Well, a lot of guys last night were asked about that, but really the 3 that matter are Kerr, Curry, and Draymond. You don't want to hear from them? I think the people do.
Yeah, no, you're up. For this, I
was going to say, this actually might be some worthwhile sound.
Are you going to start with Kerr?
Who do you want to start with?
I don't care.
Okay, let's start with Steve Kerr, because he's the guy who, he's got the most pressing.
Wait, before we even get into that, what do you think Kerr is going to, well, maybe we can talk about it afterwards. Because I read into this that Steve Kerr, I thought that Kerr was just going to make up his mind. And I think I've always said this, that he's really good at reading the room. And he's going to do what's best for the team. And he knows when it's time to walk away. But it sounds as though he really wants to come back. And it's almost as though he's like, this is in the hands of Lacob, but I want to come back. That's the way I interpret it. It could be entirely wrong. But I think somebody asked him about walking away from Steph. And I hope I'm not blowing our lead.
Here is Steve Kerr after the 111-96 loss to the Phoenix Suns talking about his decision this summer.
My plan is to take a little time and, I don't know, take a week or two and eventually sit down and talk with Joe and Mike. We've always had a great partnership and collaboration, and just see where they are. And I'll tell them where I am, and we'll talk about what's next for the Warriors, what the plan is this offseason, and we will come to a collaborative decision on what's next. I don't know what's going to happen. I still love coaching, but I get it. These jobs all have an expiration date. There's a run that happens, and when the run ends, sometimes it's time for new blood and new ideas and all that. And if that's the case, then I will be just nothing but grateful for the most amazing opportunity any person could have to coach this franchise in front of our fans in the Bay, and to coach Steph Curry, to coach Dre, the whole group. So it may still go on. It may not. I don't know at this point, but we all need to step away a little bit and then reconvene.
I'm not leaving.
Pasta. Yeah, he's Steve Kerr sounds to me like a guy who's at peace with either. I think
it doesn't sound that way to me.
Well, you think he wants to come back?
Yeah,
I think he wants to come back for Steph, but I don't know. The guy who was hugging both those dudes after the game, the guy who, to your point on Wednesday, was pointing at Draymond and embracing him and talking about being champions for one night. I think he is okay with whatever happens. But I do agree that it's not necessarily up to him. I think that Lacob and Dunleavy and the Warriors, they have to decide what they want to do this summer. Do they want to try and get younger? Do they want to try and acquire an older veteran? I don't know, a LeBron or a Kawhi or whoever you want to throw out there. Because if you do want to stay as this older team, at least for one more season, I think it makes a lot of sense actually to bring Steve Kerr back. But if you're going to go the other way, and if you're going to take this draft pick and you're going to try and bring in some younger, fresher legs, then I do think it probably makes more sense to go with a different guy, someone who is more modern, quite frankly. And,
younger.
Well, a lot of people are going to be younger than Steve Kerr, but I'm saying someone that is more in tune with where the NBA is and where it's going, as opposed to Steve Kerr, who, in my opinion, is stuck in where the NBA kind of has been. And he's been very successful, obviously, but I'm just not sure that if this is a team you want to turn down the ageometer, which doesn't exist, I'm not sure he's the guy for it.
Did you just make that up?
I did.
I like that. I think that Steve Kerr going into this, I was with you, that I thought Steve he's so accomplished, and he has so many things going on in his life, and he's so successful. And I like what this guy stands for, not only as a coach, but as a person. And I thought that, listen, whatever happens, and I'm good either way, because I'll do whatever it is that I do. I will continue to be successful, and I'll have an impact on maybe younger people's lives. But then hearing that press conference, I think he wants to come back, and I think he's saying it's in their hands. But he loves to coach, and he loves whether you win or lose. He loves the journey. He loves being around these people, and he loves Steph Curry. And he wants to ride that out as long as he can, as long as Steph Curry can. And while I was with you going into that press conference, after hearing what it is that he said, the way I interpret this is now that Steve Kerr wants to hang on. And unfortunately, if they're going to move on, they're going to have to fire him. That, yeah, they're going to say it's collective, it's collaborative, and Steve Kerr's going to say all the right things. But you hope that Steve Kerr is like, let's just do what's best for the team. And I don't think that I'm right for the direction you need to head into. But instead, I think he's going to make a case for himself to stay with the team.
This is from Tommy1 in our YouTube chat, donating $5 to say, the league has gotten younger and taller. The Warriors, if they want to become a contender, they must build their roster accordingly. Nostalgia does not win championships.
Right on. Who was that?
Tommy1.
Right on, man. Well, where does those $5 go to, by the way?
We've been asking this question for quite some time.
We should have just a big hat, and at the end of the day, we just go to the ship and get shipwrecked.
That's a 4, and I'd be right there with you. But that's also generally every Friday. All right, so Steve Kerr.
With it, without the hat.
This is what you're talking about, walking away from Steph.
Right. I mean, I don't want to walk away from Steph. I'm definitely not going and coaching somewhere else next year. In the NBA. I mean, I'm just... I would never walk away from Steph, but all this stuff has to be aligned and right, and so those are all discussions that we'll have. That's what I said from the beginning of the season. I felt great coming into this year. I thought we had a real chance. With Jimmy and Moses going down, obviously it took us off track, but we have to account for all of that stuff. And, this is just a phenomenal organization, and Joe is a great owner. Mike is a wonderful GM, and I'm lucky to work with them. And like I said, we'll all put our heads together next couple weeks.
Yeah, that's Steve Kerr after the loss last night. Doesn't want to walk away from Steph. It's funny. Mike Dunleavy, doesn't want the junior. Before the season, I think he was asked about Steve Kerr and the impending contract in his final year, and he said something along the lines of, "Well, if Steve wants to be here, Steve can be here. It's up to Steve." It didn't sound to me like it's up to Steve.
No.
Listening to that quote, it sounds like it's up to the Warriors, and they obviously want to be aligned. I think they want to have an understanding of what next year is going to be, which who knows? It could be Kerr's last year again. He might just sign a one-year deal. Marcus Thompson of The Athletic, along with Nick Friedel, reported last night that there are multiple sources inside that locker room who believe Kerr will be back next year, and it's probably a one-year contract. But listening to him after that game with how reflective he was, talking about how grateful he is, speaking about his unwillingness to leave Steph essentially, at least by his own volition, it sounds to me like the decision is not his, which is, by the way, probably how it should be, because the Warriors have to figure out where they want to go as a franchise and if they want Steve Kerr to be a part of it.
It's going to be difficult for the Warriors to move off of Steve Kerr, but that's what they need to do. And I'm on record as saying as much. And listen, he could come back and they could be successful, but I'm not going to move off of what I think. And despite what happened on Wednesday night, which was just so damn much fun and so glorious. And yes, Steve Kerr said, F you, Dan Devone, for what it is that you've been saying all year long. We were champions for night, and you were. But you couldn't be champions against Phoenix, and you couldn't be champions going forward because you're just too old. And I think even Steve saying that he had high hopes, and I know he has to say this, but that he had high optimism going into the season is part of the reason why I think they need to go in another direction. Why? If I could see that this was inevitable, why couldn't Steve? Like, holding on to older players and thinking that this is a recipe for competing in what has now become a young, talented Western Conference that is so dangerous is not anything that I subscribe to. So at some point, whether it's when Steve Kerr walks off with Steph Curry and Draymond Green or whatever, they don't get the contract extensions, all this money comes off the book, and then you decide to go young. At some point, you're going to have to face the end of this. I've always maintained sooner is better than later because it expedites the recovery back to relevance. We got to go. You were waving me off, man. I was just getting lathered up.
Boss is waving me off.
All right. You want to go to Dr. Zhivago, who's coaching the 8th grade team at St. Brendan's.
Well, that's in an hour.
Oh, all right.
I thought you were going to take us past 10 o'clock.
Take you right up until the interview.
888-957-9570 is the number. Dan's going to finish his soliloquy on the other side of 95.7 The Game.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Whether you're renovating or building new, Ashby Lumber and Marvin help bring your vision to life with bold design and unmatched performance. In the Bay Area, your home is everything, and the right door makes all the difference. Discover Marvin Elevate and Vivid Doors, crafted for expansive views, natural light, and seamless indoor-outdoor living. Available at Ashby Lumber, your trusted local partner for premium building materials. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord or learn more at marvin.com. Marvin, designed for how you live.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
He looked like Steph Curry always has, so he's still got it. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're 37 is maintaining the level over the course of 82 games.
And he joins Willard and Dibbs every week during the NBA season.
We have a blueprint that everybody's feeling confident with.
Steve Kerr is presented by Great Clips. In sports, success is about team effort, and the same is true for your hair. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Now through May 3rd at Big O Tires. Get $50 to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Hankook, or Pirelli brand tires with installation purchase. Book your appointment online today. Disposal fees extra, not covered with other offers. See your locally owned Big O dealer for pricing.
Hi, I'm Billy Keller from ATCO Pest Control.
And I'm Gabe Whitney from Eclipse Insurance.
We're thrilled to invite you to the 3rd annual Agape Charity Golf Tournament on Monday, April 27th at Stone Tree Golf Club in Novato. We want to thank our platinum sponsors, Cadillac Marin and Rush Injury Law of the Bay Area.
All proceeds benefit the North Bay and Golden Gate Regional Centers Help Funds and the San Francisco Autism Society of the Bay Area.
To learn more and register, visit agapecharitygolf.com.
That's agapecharitygolf.com. We hope to see you there.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.
If you need to sell your house fast, this is for you. Sometimes a house just becomes too much. Bills, repairs, a big life change, we get it. At John Buys Bay Area Houses, we'll help you turn the page. We buy as is. No repairs, no fees, no hassle. Call 510-800-JOHN or visit johnbuysbayareahouses.com.
Start fresh with John Buys Bay Area Houses.
Reach your saving goals with Mirastar Momentum Savings. Progress should come with perks. Every $25 you save earns an entry to win cash prizes. We're drawing winners for $1,000 monthly, $5,000 quarterly, and an annual grand prize of $10,000. Saving has never been this rewarding. Apply today at mirastarfcu.org. Insured by NCUA, no purchase necessary. Terms and conditions apply. See website for full details.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Kendall Jackson is partnering with 95.7 The Game to give our listeners a chance to win a chef's small plates and pairings experience at the Kendall Jackson Wine Estate and Gardens in Santa Rosa. For more info and to enter our contest, visit 957thegame.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Everything you knew about reaching customers online is being rewritten. Time to rethink your approach. Outcomes from Viant finds real customers, not impressions, not clicks, customers. Our AI maximizes against the outcomes that matter most and proves it happened. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
Hello, San Francisco Bay Area. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America NA, member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Now back to Warriors This Week on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, Pasta. Appreciate that. You've been working on it. Getting pretty good. What do you do with these vocal talents of yours, by the way?
Obviously, I use a mirror.
Oh. He left me a voice memo, Dan. Was this last week or the week before?
It might have been the week before.
Anyways, I wake up to this voice memo or voice note from Pasta, and he's doing an impression of me doing play-by-play. And it's like at 3:30 in the morning, and he starts it off by saying, "Hey, Evan, I've had a lot of time working the morning shift to kind of own my impressions. Here I go." And then he does it, and it's just like, this is what this guy does at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, because when I'm driving to the morning show, there's no other way to wake myself up. There's been times where I'm like, God, I shouldn't be driving right now, but that's the only way to do it.
Why don't you get a YouTube channel and just do impressions?
Well,
like you could show the video of a particular player, and then you could voice it over.
Well, his impressions are kind of niche.
Very niche.
Like he does, Dan Dibley or Buck Martinez. I mean, Fleming's a big boy, but
is Dibley not in the same class as that of Fleming, Dave Fleming?
With the garage door opener by LiftMaster, I was in need of a closer.
That is so spot on.
Yeah, we got to get him national. There's no doubt about it.
Well, Dan Devone reacting to the Golden State War. Steve Kerr was from a different generation.
I don't think that was you. Was that Scott in Berkeley?
No, that's Dan. Well, it tried to be Dan.
Oh, well.
Thank God he can't do me.
My ego's down.
Man.
Yeah, give him time. Give him time. All right, Devone, Giddings, Risotto in the house. Final Warriors this week of the 25-26 season. Let's go to Scott in Berkeley. Scotty, the floor is yours, my man. What's going on?
Fellas, how you doing?
Awesome. How are you?
Hey.
I'm good. In a way, I have to say I'm kind of satisfied with the result. Because this wasn't going, this team was not going to win 18 games in the postseason. Once you got past that, you were saying, what would you accept? And it's like, obviously, in the 9-10, they got the matchup that they didn't want, that I think many of us didn't want because we didn't want to face Kawhi, and we ended up beating him. So, in a way, after Wednesday, I was saying, okay, I'm gold. I'm happy. Now, after last night, you begin to look forward to May 11th. And I'm just so absolute. This may be the smallest eye of the needle to have to be threaded, but they got to get, somehow, some way things have to break that they get top two. And maybe in the cosmic, if this is the cosmic case of ball don't lie, they've got to break what their percentage is going in. I just kind of think. I think what was it? Guru had said a couple of weeks ago. They somehow get three, to trade it to Milwaukee for Giannis. I'm not touching that. Giannis, I don't trust his age. I don't trust his lower body at this point. And moreover, if you're trading for Antetokounmpo, that also means that you're trading for his brothers. So you're going to have two roster spots you can't use. I'm just, I mean, my hope and my prayer would be DeBonsta, because when they talked years ago about the two paths with, when they were doing that with Wiseman and then they were doing that with JK, that wasn't the case. This to me is the case if they somehow manage to pull the one. Because at least then you have somebody you can go forward with. So that's just my, I'm just waiting for May 11th now and waiting to see what happens out of that. You guys have a good summer. I'll be around.
Hey, Scotty, hold on 1 second here before you go. I heard this only because you're a former Turtle. I read this the other day that people are comparing DeBonsta to, guess who? Len Bias. What do you think?
I'd say AJ might be the thing with Lenny was that Lenny had trouble after the third dribble. But then again, it was like after the third dribble, if he was going up, it's like, did it really matter? So yeah, I could see that. I mean, the good thing about AJ is that he certainly didn't have Lefty as his coach, but
shout out Lefty Drysdale.
I could see. Yeah, well, Lefty to me is kind of like the guy who has lowered the standard for coaches getting into Springfield. After the way the Doc got in, I'm still kind of going, yeah, I think anybody can show up now as a coach and get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, Scotty, I thought I'd just throw you a bone, baby, but there you go. Go Terps.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to kind of say, yeah, I went there to school. That doesn't necessarily mean that I was, shall we say, bleeding red and black the whole time I was there.
I got you, Scotty. Well, don't be a stranger this summer. We appreciate all your comments this year.
Go Green Wave!
Yeah, you had to throw him on bias, didn't you? You had to throw him a terrapin, didn't you?
Go there.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's get into some of this sound. All right, we heard from Steve Kerr talking about how he didn't want to walk away from Steph. One thing that was asked to Curry, and I think, so Steve said a lot yesterday, right? We heard him talk about taking his time. Sounds like it might not be up to him, but he doesn't want to walk away from Steph. So then reporters last night after the loss in Phoenix went to Curry and asked him about it. Here's what he said.
We haven't had any of these conversations, so we all have to kind of assess where we're at, and I'm sure decisions either way will be made, but just the idea of just looking at how we try to make something out of this year is the focus for me. And we'll get to the rest of what the future looks like. But we had a lot of good moments in the locker room, just appreciating the fight and the battle that we had and the ability to try to extend our season. Didn't go the way we wanted to. And we'll get to the other stuff later.
And then he was also asked if Kerr, who used the term expiration date on coaches, what that meant to Curry.
I think everything we've done is unprecedented, and there's only a few examples you can kind of look to in the history of basketball, especially in the modern era where when we started, again, the way the game is played has changed from 2013-14 when we were kind of ascending to, or 14-15 when Coach got here, where we were ascending to how it's played now, roster construction, like all of those things. You have to adapt and evolve for sure. I think Coach is fully capable of doing that and thinking, outside the box as we go. But to his point, and your spirit has to be in it, your mind has to be in it, your coaching staff, like every dynamic has to be on that journey with you. So only he can answer that. And it sounds like he's put a lot of thought into it, but we'll have those conversations where I get to kind of understand where his mindset is, because it's not like he was going to open up to me on that front over the last, or at any point during the season, because we still had a job to do.
I hear a player who would love to have his head coach back, Dan, but also I hear Steph saying, if it's time, it's time. He used the word adapt, referred to where the league is going, and trying to honestly probably figure out his place in it, because he still knows that he can play at a high level, and I think he proved that on Wednesday. But If Steve Kerr is with the Warriors next year, I think Steph would be happy about it. But he did not sound to me, from what we heard, and he also went on to say he wants Kerr to be happy when asked if he wants him back. It doesn't sound to me like Steph is a guy that is banging on the door of Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy saying, bring back my head coach. And I think that's also who he is. I think he does legitimately want Kerr to have peace of mind, really, with whatever his decision is going to be. But I didn't hear the face of the Warriors say, we got to get Steve Kerr back next season or else.
Yeah, I think it's not within his personality to do that. And I also think it's a little different from a player's perspective. They don't necessarily think along those lines. They don't hitch their wagon to the coach as much as the other way around, especially when it's a player like that, Steph Curry. But I think that if they brought somebody in younger that wanted to do it a different way, I think, no disrespect to Steve Kerr, but I think Steph Curry would be completely on board. And I think maybe he's at a point in his life and his career where he's, certainly wouldn't say this publicly, but wanting change. I mean, change in terms of the offense and the way things are done. Listen, 4 consecutive trips to the play-in, that's not Warrior basketball. And it's time to do something new. I'm really sort of caught between a rock and a hard spot when it comes to Steph Curry, just to get real again.
Well, so are the Warriors.
But if you're going to extend this guy, which most likely they're going to do, you're talking about a guy who's going to be making, I think, $67 and then $71 million the following year.
Well, that's if you extend him for the max.
Well, are you going to extend him for less than that?
I would like to.
I don't think that's even plausible, is it?
Well, then you got to have a really difficult decision about whether or not you want to extend him in the first place.
Well, you know how I feel about that. I'm just saying that's a lot of donuts, man. It's a lot of donuts for a dude who's...
Well, yeah, who'll be...
40, 39?
He'll be going into his age 40 season when that year after next kicks in. Can you be paying a 40-year-old player $70 million?
And where does Jimmy Butler fit in all of this with his $56, $57 million a year?
Well, I think Jimmy's gone after next year. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from him. I think next season you go into it just thinking about that being kind of your trade deadline acquisition, if you want to view it from that standpoint. But
I just think they need to, well, I don't want to reiterate because I do it every damn week, but it's a really difficult offseason. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be tough. First decision is going to be about Steve Kerr. You know, I'm hearing Steve kind of wonder out loud. I think Curry's a guy who, and look, he was pretty loyal to Mark Jackson. They brought in a completely unproven head coach who helped them achieve the highest of highs. And this is obviously a much different place in their franchise, but I think to your point, Steph is, number one, a consummate professional. Number two, at a place where I think he's also seen that this has kind of run its course, right? In 2022, you won 53 games, you won a championship. Next year, second round exit. 2024, 46 wins, lost in the play-in. Last season, you got to a second round. And then this year, the roster completely broke down and you were playing exit. I think that the last 4 seasons, they've tried to do it. They've tried to capture lightning in a bottle the way they did in 2022. They've tried to use a lot of veterans. They've tried to load manage. They've tried to do it Steve Kerr's way. And I think Steph might even be looking at this team and saying, I cannot continue to be what basically the Warriors have asked me to be for the last 15, 16 years. And so maybe we collectively, himself included, have to figure out a different way to do this. And if that includes a different head coach, I think he could be sold on that.
I'm just curious about personnel. Like, I think we're talking circuitously. We're talking around this, but what has to happen going forward? I think you know where I stand.
Yep.
I want a clean ship. So I'm just curious, what do people out there think specifically has to be done in order for this team to get back on track?
888-957-9570 is the number. Devone, Giddings, Risotto in the house. Let's go to AJ in Los Angeles. Good morning, AJ. What's going on, man? How are you?
Fantastic. Happy to get in here with you guys and express my I told you so's. But just, and I'm with you guys. the complete rehaul is roster construction, coaching staff, all the way to the PR department. I really do believe that they need a complete clean slate. They need a brand new brand strategy on how they look at basketball. You know, the game has definitely changed and adjusted. And it was just like when they came around, as Steph said, when they came, the league had to adjust on how they play, and the league did for the most part. But now there's a new adjustment, which it has been, and I believe that Bob Myers probably was kind of seeing that. He was seeing that the league was changing. I do not believe that they had the coaching mentality to adjust to modern day basketball. And obviously the roster construction says it all. If they don't have the roster, they don't have the coaching, they don't have the mentality to adjust to modern day basketball at all. So it's time to wrap this thing up, man. Jimmy Butler, what is he coming back? March next year? Why would he even come back? You know, why would he come back? Porzingis is dead legs. I mean, I can't imagine why you would want this guy back. And I think the Steph situation, you know, I feel bad because, you know, he is a legacy player, but really, I mean, you talk about Kerr, but really it leads with Steph. What do you do with Steph at this point? You know, that's Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, that's nearly $200 million in salary that you need to figure out how you want to maneuver into going into your future as a basketball club. It's time to blow this thing up. It's been time, actually, 2 years ago, but really now. That's what I got.
Okay. Thanks, AJ. Appreciate the call, man.
What do you think about Porzingis?
Scorched earth. What?
What do you think about Porzingis?
I think they'll probably try to re-sign him this summer.
I wouldn't necessarily oppose that move.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind bringing back. Well, also, too, I don't think he's going to break the bank. He played 32 games this year.
Can you get him for 10, 12? It's lowballing him, I know. But
I mean, I think he's more of a $20 million player.
Well, then that's too rich for me. He's got to come in at 15 to 12. If he's willing to do that, if he really likes Celebrini, come on back.
I don't think anybody would be able to get him for $15 million. Well, I mean, he made 30 this year.
I know. We can't do that.
And cut it in half?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying I would like to come. He's got to come back on a player-friendly deal, but I'd like to have him back. And you know why? Because he's tall and he's talented. The injuries, I'm just going to have to roll the dice with that guy and just hope he gives me 60 games next year. I would take that as a plus.
Well, that's why, in a way, next year, you know, if we're just kind of looking at it, I don't think the roster necessarily needs to be overhauled because you might be able to tank with the roster you have. I mean, seriously, if you go into next season and guys start breaking out and guys start getting hurt, you're going to be bad anyways.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. If I'm going to I see.
Like next year, you want to go into next year saying, we cannot win more than 20 games.
No, what I want to do is, I was hoping to avoid this. I would like to compile some serious draft picks from this draft. And what I want to do is while these young players are developing is to create a future and to have the semblance of some sort of structure of a basketball team going forward. I don't want to roll out a bunch of guys who are going to get hurt and who are not part of my future and just say, well, we're inadvertently tanking because we're just not good. If we're going to lose, I want to do it with some purpose, to have at least younger players that I know are going to get better and that these games are providing an education so that ultimately, and I'm not talking about the Bajenskis of the world and the Guy Santoses, but I'm talking about multiple picks you get in this year's NBA draft that develop through the course of time. And in doing so, we lose games. But I can see that there is an identity here, something that I think has been lacking on this basketball team for a while.
Well, I'm with you. If you could get first-round picks, but there's only one player that anybody would give up a first-round pick for, and it doesn't sound like they're anywhere close to considering that.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Steph, would you sign an extension this summer?
Multiple, for sure. That's more than one. Yes, that's perfect.
Would you be interested in an extension?
For sure. But none of those conversations have happened, so it'll be a busy summer for the Warriors.
See, busy summer. Lots of stuff to do.
Why couldn't have someone just said, hey, Steph, would you be interested in going back home to Charlotte?
And he would say, Dan, the Charlotte Hornets just lost by 30 points in the game preceding us to an Orlando Magic team that was a heavy underachiever this season. So I know you love Charlotte, and they were the talk of the town at the end of the regular season, and they might be pretty good next year. I can't take that team to a championship. Why do I want to go there?
Well, it's not about a championship. I guess it's who's further along. Who would you rather be, the Charlotte Hornets or the Golden State Warriors in terms of a future? I guess is the question. That
well, obviously Charlotte, but they both got as far as each other this year.
Yeah, but again,
they got eliminated in the same game.
But when we're talking about the future, that's a young team getting better. And they'll make some moves over the offseason because they got all that draft capital. And they can go out and they have the blueprint to get better. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, but
I'm not a big LaMelo Ball guy, by the way. I mean,
he's their best player.
What it is that he did, but I know in the playoffs or the play-in sort of reflected that. It was just zany. Like that game that they won was just so LaMelo Ball. It's like half the game you're pulling your hair out going like, what the hell are you doing? But that's his career. It's just like one-footed, off-balance threes. And there's like no defense, and then he comes down and he wins, gets you the game winner. That's just sort of him in a nutshell.
Well, he might be a moron at times, but he also made the biggest shot of the game.
Yeah.
I think he stinks.
He does not stink. He might be a weirdo. And off the court, I'm not a big fan of him, but kid can play. 888-957-9570 is the number. I see 3 calls. I see Ken, I see Joseph, I see Horace. But we're going to take a break here, come back and get to you on the other side, half hour away from Dr. Joaquin Wallace joining us to talk about Santa Cruz. You seriously got to be cool when he comes on.
I will. I think it's funny that we're teasing Dr. Joaquin Wallace.
He's a doctor.
That was Pasta taking a shot, not me.
We're going to talk to the color analyst of the Santa Cruz Warriors at 11 on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Hey there, it's Bonte with a fresh springtime update from River Islands in Lathrop, where the good life can be your life. Everything is in bloom here, including the home selection. With neighborhoods designed for all kinds of lifestyles, it is easy to find your perfect fit. Looking for a bright kitchen, a home office, or space for guests? You'll find it here with homes from the low 600s to over $1 million. And the town center, located by Islandersfield Ballpark, is really coming to life. The Redwood Cafe opens this summer, and a new amphitheater is on the way for concerts and community events. Sutter Health is building medical offices, and a major grocery store is coming soon, making it a great place to gather and unwind. The Lakewood Club at Del Webb has just opened its doors, and a brand new K-8 charter school welcomes students this fall. All part of the exciting growth happening within River Islands. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? Check it out at riverislands.com. AtcoPestControl.com.
It's that time of year again, Steiny.
That's right, Guru. Atco Pest Control and Eclipse Insurance are hosting the 3rd annual Agape Charity Golf Tournament on Monday, April 27th at Stone Tree Golf in Novato.
Proceeds support the North Bay and Golden Gate Regional Centers and the San Francisco Autism Society Bay Area.
We're here with Billy Keller and Gabe Whitney to share how you can join in and make a difference.
This is a cause near and dear to our hearts, as both of our families have benefited from the care and support these organizations provide.
Absolutely, Billy. Their support is invaluable. We also want to give a big thank you to our 2 platinum sponsors. Cadillac Marin and Price Family Dealerships have been a proud partner of our community for 50 years, supporting the people and organizations that make Northern California stronger.
And also Rush Injury Law, whose continued commitment to serving families across the Bay Area goes far beyond the courtroom, demonstrating a genuine dedication to strengthening our community.
So come join us at Stone Tree on April 27th and make a real difference in your Bay Area special needs community. Register at agapecharitigolf.com.
Powerful doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. So the moment Total Wireless offers a free Samsung S25 FE with Galaxy AI, when you switch to Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan, you take the network as powerful as you with unlimited 5G data that won't slow you down. Now that's a total power move. Visit your neighborhood Total Wireless store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires new activation on a Total 5G Unlimited 3-month plan or higher. External port-in and ID verification. Available only in Total Wireless stores. Limit to 4 devices per account.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya, guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
The 2026 Mountain Winery concert season is here, with performances by Dana Carvey and David Spade in June, Trevor Noah in July, and many more. To see the 2026 schedule and a chance to win tickets to one of the shows, courtesy of Mountain Winery, visit 957thegame.com.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Now back to Warriors This Week on 95.7 The Game.
What's up, Devon? How you feeling, man?
Doing well.
Last Warriors This Week of the year.
Oh, God. Are
Halfway
you
home?
kidding me?
Yeah, Jan. We had Jan call in.
Jan kicked us off.
Scott's called in. What else are our favorites out there? We got to get Austin, Coach.
Are we doing one of those? Should we huddle like that of Steve Kerr, Draymond, and Steph Curry at the end of the show?
Well, no, we're going to be back. Yeah. I can't say the same for Steve. No, seriously, I think there's a lot up in the air. They got to make some hard choices because they pretty much are jumping off a cliff right now. It feels like they don't really know what they're leaping into. They've been waiting for 3 or 4 years to basically have the decision made for them or have the future kind of play out in a way that allows you to pick a lane. And in the process of doing that, they haven't really picked any. And now it feels like that's all coming to a head this summer. And they're going to have to make a choice on Kerr. They're going to have to make a choice as to whether extend Curry to maybe allow Draymond to go into a walk year. And then at the end of next season, maybe you do plan to kind of blow it up, so to speak. I don't think they're doing that this summer. I know a lot of people want them to, and we've had calls that are saying it's time to go scorched earth and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, Dan. How do you do it without trading Steph? How do you do it? How do you go scorched earth without trading Steph?
Yeah, it's a little late. I would agree with you. You've put yourself in a difficult situation, but I would
call Charlotte.
Why do you make me do this, man? I'm trying to avoid doing that this show, but yes, I would try and get off of Steph. You heard me say it because I think I need draft picks for this year's draft. I want everything that they need to do has to happen in the next month so that come June, I'm getting multiple players in this year's NBA draft. There, I said it. I'm not gonna belabor the point.
No, I got you. Let's go to Ken, who's in San Rafael. Ken, start us off. What's going on? Good morning.
Hey, fellas. Good morning. Hey, I may have a take that will go a little against the grain here, but there's a lot of noise going on about the Warriors, their coaching staff. We need to wipe the slate clean, and we need to reset. Here's a fact. What makes good coaches is good players. Pick any era you want to. Red Auerbach, Riley, Phil Jackson. They were all good coaches because they had good players. And right now, the Warriors don't have a collection of good players. What they have a collection of is old and capable and a bunch of Midland other guys that on any given night can be good, but they're never great. And on any given night, they may not even be very good. So instead of aiming at Kerr for what everybody wants to say he didn't do, people should start asking themselves, if you don't have Kerr, who would you want? And why are they better? What do you think somebody that comes in new with this collection of talent is going to do that Steve Kerr can't do? It's just curious to me. It's like there's a bunch of people out there that have never played or that are not paying attention or that just aren't very smart about what they're saying. Changing out Steve Kerr in the last couple of years of this, whatever you got left with the Warriors, isn't going to make a difference. Steph and Draymond are old. And on any given night, they're good enough to beat somebody. But that's the reality. We had a run with them. They kicked ass. And now that run is over. So aiming at the coach seems a wrong place to start for me. I don't understand the discussion about needing to trade Steph Curry. Nobody's going to want him. He's got 1 year left in him, maybe. He's going to be hurt. He's old, and he's expensive. And you're not going to get a bunch of draft picks for that guy. And the Warriors, I don't think, are going to be ready to let go of him because he still puts butts in the seats and he still sells tickets. So there's a lot of noise. And what people ought to really get religion around is the Warriors had a great run. It's coming to an end. There's another year left. Kerr's going to be around. Curry's going to be around. Draymond's going to be around. They're not going to get rid of him. And we just need to watch it happen and enjoy it for what it is. They're not a contender, so let's just admit it and then decide after next year what happens next. I just don't get all the noise about, we got to fix things this summer. It's not going to happen.
Good call, Ken. Appreciate it.
Good job, Kenny.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, it's again what we've been talking about. I think people want this big rebuild or do over, but because of the decisions they've made, you can't really do that.
I would disagree with him when it comes to coaching. I get what he's saying. He's right. He knows his stuff because it is a players' league, more so than football, more so than baseball. When you're talking about 5 guys, you need talent on the floor in order to be competitive. But if you're going to go in another direction, which I think they strongly need to do, I think that you need somebody who's a little bit more identifiable for the younger players. I think that it's not by mistake with the Joe Mazzulas, the Mitch Johnsons, the Charles Lee, even Jordan Knott last night that identify with these younger players and then create a culture where you're overachieving. I know you can say Boston has a lot of good teams, but this is supposed to be a gap year. They were the number 2 seed. So there is something to be said about bringing in somebody that is new, younger, and is doing things a little bit differently and making a change for the sake of change. That's where you might be at with the Golden State Warriors. So I would disagree with him on that level that, the idea of there's no reason to change. This is not an indictment on Steve Kerr as a coach. He's brilliant. It's just where you're at as a basketball team.
All right. This is Steve Kerr when he was asked last night after the loss and the end of the Warriors season if it might be time for some new blood.
Time for new blood and new ideas and all that. And if that's the case, then I will be just nothing but grateful for the most amazing opportunity any person could have to coach this franchise in front of our fans in the Bay, and to coach Steph Curry, to coach Dre, the whole group. So it may still go on. It may not. I don't know at this point, but we all need to step away a little bit and then reconvene.
Again, it does not sound like he knows exactly what's going to happen this summer.
No. But it sounds to me, are you on, well, I guess it's just me, that it sounds as though he'd like to come back.
I think he would, but if he doesn't, I think he's at peace with it. I mean, I don't think he's looked around and said, I got to come back because there's unfinished business. I think that idea of unfinished business with Curry and Draymond and Kerr, that's out the door.
I think he just enjoys it. I think he enjoys molding young minds. You know what I mean? I don't even think it's about winning anymore. Obviously it is at the end of the day, but I just think he's that sort of guy where he loves younger people and trying to, this is going to sound a bit much, but trying to make them better people or better players, and just being in that process, I think is what he subscribes to.
I mean, he's done it for a dozen years. It's like, I think this is a part of his being at this point. It's funny because Kerr's done everything there is to do in the NBA. He's been a player. He's been a general manager.
What about the St. Mary's gig?
Well, let's go into Mickey McConnell.
Oh, that's right. Former player.
They just promoted the associate head coach. He's a good guy. We'll get him on sometime. How about that? Sometime this summer when St. Mary's becomes a little more on the radar. No, I think he's accomplished everything. But it's funny because of all the many hats that he's worn in the NBA, a head coach is what I think he's going to be remembered for. Even maybe more so than as a player. He's got some big moments as a player.
Oh, there's no doubt as a coach. Was that even in question?
Well, I just think for a lot of people maybe that are older, they'll remember Steve Kerr with, the Bulls or maybe to some extent the Spurs. But I mean,
he was always a supportive or a role player as a basketball player. He was, was Michael Jordan, Scottie. He was like, the fourth or fifth option. As a coach.
No, yeah. I mean, he wasn't one of the main guys, but he also played for 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He was a hell of a broadcaster, too. I don't know if you've never heard Steve Kerr call a game, man. He was awesome.
He did a couple big games that I remember. One of them, you remember when T-Mac scored 13 points in 30 seconds to beat the Spurs? Okay, so Tracy McGrady, when he was on the Rockets, this game was over. I think it was might have been a Marv Albert, Steve Kerr game. But I remember Steve Kerr's on the call for this game. And T-Mac hits 4 3-pointers, one of which was a 4-point play in 30 seconds. It's one of the greatest regular season collapses. Seriously, go look it up on YouTube. Tracy McGrady scored 13 points in 30-something seconds against the Spurs to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But anyways, I just remember Steve Kerr was a broadcaster on that game because he was absolutely bewildered, could not believe what he had seen. And so to your point, he was a very good broadcaster. All right, let's get back out to the phone lines so Dan can look at T-Mac highlights. Yeah, Joseph's in Oakland. Joseph, what's going on? How are you? Good morning.
How are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
I'm going to start this way.
Yeah.
You need to talk to Kerr. You cannot have him sit up there, want somebody, and because they don't draft that person, sit up there, and hold somebody else's career back. Yeah, I'm talking about Kuminga. Kuminga was not what Draymond is, a doggone tweener four. Kuminga was a shooting guard to a small forward. He could have played alongside Wiggins. You drafted Podziemski. He wanted Podziemski. He let Podziemski make all the bonehead plays, all the ill-advised shots, and all the mistakes. He didn't let Kuminga do all that. So, yeah, Podziemski looks damn good. What about Kuminga? As far as keeping Kerr, oh, hell yeah, I'm keeping Kerr. But I'm going down his lane and telling him he is not doing that anymore. You have to coach these players. You have to. Otherwise, we're going to have another fiasco like which he caused the last 4 years. Good day, you guys.
Appreciate it, Joseph.
Jonathan Kuminga making an appearance. Who, by the way,
he'll be making an appearance in about 2.5 hours at the
Garden. The Hawks and the Celtics.
You think he'll play?
Oh, yeah. He's in the rotation.
I know he's in the rotation. But
oh, you mean when they slim that rotation
rotations
down?
Get shortened in the postseason?
No, I think
he'll probably still play.
I love Kuminga.
We actually had a bet. Someone made a bet at the ship that he would have a game where he scores, what was it, 25 points at some point in the series. I had to take the under just because I think he's like a 6th or 7th guy, but I think that's going to be a really good series. All right, let's go to Horace in Clayton. Horace, good morning. How are you? What's going on?
What's up? Hey, I wanted to call in about that guy that said Leslie Giselle doesn't deserve the Hall of Fame. I grew up in it. He's out of his mind. Because I grew up in the 60s where black players wasn't even thought of. I grew up in Washington, D.C., 15 minutes from Maryland, 15 minutes from Georgetown, American University. All those white schools are right there. And I was one of the best players in the city, along with Austin Carr and the rest of us. And everybody left to go somewhere else. And most of the players went to the CIAA because the CIAA was loaded. They had some black players in there that couldn't even be seen because they had some kind of unspoken quota in the NBA. They only could take so many. But Leslie Giselle took that Maryland job and brought in Lynn Elmore. I don't know if you guys remember that. He was one of the first black players to play at Maryland. And then he
long-time broadcaster. Yeah, he was my neighbor in New York City for a little while. Long-time broadcaster for college.
Right.
Yeah.
And he opened the door for Maryland to start recruit some black players locally. Okay? And none of the black players went until John Thompson went to Georgetown. Then the door was open. But I went to prep school with Charlie Scott. Sam Jones went to the Lauenberg Institute, and Jimmy Walker went to the Lauenberg Institute. Okay? And Charlie Scott was the first black player to go to North Carolina. You remember that, right? Dean Smith took Charlie Scott, first black player to go to North Carolina. And Dean Smith used to come to the Lauenberg Institute, which was the only black prep school in the whole United States, and came to watch us scrimmage one day. And he says, right now, these guys, you could beat any freshman team in the ACC right now. And Charlie Scott was just finished up summer school because he's going to be the first black to go there. And Dean Smith just said that, and because we were loaded. You know, Charlie Davis came in the middle of the year and played with the Cleveland Cavaliers and that kind of thing. But we were loaded, okay? And we played at I think about 3 freshman teams, Wake Forest or something like that, but it was no spectators because we were an all-black team. It was an exhibition, like a scrimmage. And we wore their happy asses out.
Hey, that's awesome. You know, growing up in California, what I always hear about as a kid is DeMatha. Like, did you grow up? Was DeMatha the machine back in the day?
Yeah, I went to Calvin Coolidge, and DeMatha was loaded all the time.
Yeah.
Because they had Bernie Williams and all those guys, Sid Catlett, Bob Whitmore. You know, they were the only team to beat Kareem in college.
Right on. We gotta get into the Warriors, but man, you call back any time. I love DeMatha knowledge. That's all I know about. And all the things you've talked about. It's the only thing
But that guy talking about lefty shouldn't be in the. He created an avenue for black players to go to white Division I schools.
Hall of Fame.
Right on.
Right on. Thanks for the call. Yeah, did you ever hear of DeMatha?
I thought he was going to get into the Warriors. No, that was a great history lesson.
DeMatha, did you ever hear about DeMatha when you were? I always remember as a kid, like it was a school.
Was
like
this our
DeMatha.
guy who's from Cal who played at Cal Poly?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay,
No, I think it was.
Was it?
I thought,
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I thought it was the Hall of Famer.
Wait,
he was maybe it wasn't Cal Poly, but I remember he called a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it
and
was Cal Poly.
He was dropping knowledge.
Wow.
Anyways, all right, we do have a lot of calls we got to get into here. Matt's in Oakland wants to get into a larger conversation, I think. Matt, what's going on? Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's absolutely gorgeous out, fellas. How are you doing?
Yeah, you ain't lying. I got to get out of here.
Yes, you do. Couple things, problems with the NBA. I mean, the Warriors, these people who are dumping on Kerr and like talking about Kuminga like he's, I can't even deal with it anymore. Leave it alone. And Pods, what do you want for the 19th pick? But anyway, the NBA has two pretty serious problems, I think. The first of which is this is like the worst year I can remember for actually trying to watch a game. I think Amazon's terrible. I like the people they have, but their coverage is not good, and it's it went down a few times. And anyway, the other problem is that the season is simply too long. So I have a proposal. When they go to 32 teams, you could shorten the season by 5 games, which is probably all anybody would ever agree to, by playing everybody in your conference twice, and every team twice and everybody in your conference once. That gets you to 77. And instead of this moronic in-season tournament that they do, which is boring and the games count and nobody can figure it out, and it ruins the schedule, just stop and do like a March Madness thing. You got 32 teams, so play them one and done. So the fewest games anybody will play will be 78, because if you lose, you're done. The most anybody would play was 82. 2 teams would play 82. That would be really exciting, and they could stretch the season out. And it's not really that much fewer games, because what was it like? There were days this year when 20, 25% of the guys weren't even playing. That's just nuts. And this game is so fast now. I mean, you've heard the bit about the Lakers when they were the fastest team out there. Will they be the slowest now? It's a different game, and they really need to protect these guys. And that's my idea. Never happened, but it was fun talking about it. Tell me what you think.
I got you, Matt. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I think they would shorten the season.
Nobody's shortening the season. That's just not going to happen. It's a non-starter.
You're giving up money. Yeah. It's just the GDP doesn't go down over the course of time. It only goes up, and that includes a lot of games. All right, here's something I was thinking about, Dan, because I was watching at the end of last night's game, Warriors lose to Phoenix. Their season's done. And before Draymond Green got ejected and walked off the court, he and Curry and Kerr embraced right at the bench. Those are the 3 guys that this summer, in a way, is kind of all about, right? Kerr, you have to make a choice of whether or not you want him back. Curry, you have to make a choice of whether or not you want to extend him this summer. And Draymond even is going into a free agent year next year. You have to decide whether or not you want to rip that up and extend him, or whether he's just going to pick up his player option. But those 3 guys have been the pillars of this team together for 11, 12 years. And it feels like their relationship as a triumvirate is finally coming to a head. And the Warriors, first with Kerr, with Dre, that's going to dictate everything this summer. I know draft pick is something that we'll talk about when the lottery ball plays out. But if you extend Curry, what are you giving him? What is he asking for? If you extend Draymond, is that because you want to use that money for next season, or because you're still married to him? Maybe you wanted to retire a Warrior. And with Kerr, are you bringing him back for another year? Are you giving him multiple seasons? Or are you saying goodbye and trying to move into the future? I'm not sure the Warriors know right now. I don't think they have a clue as to what they want to do with those 3 guys. But to me, just watching them hug, it was because they themselves don't know. It might be their last time on a court together. And I think they were trying to embrace it. I think they were trying to embrace that moment, just because those are the 3 dudes who are kind of going to determine what happens this summer.
Think Wednesday night, again, not to continually go back there, why that was so special, that they were able to do that, albeit a play-in. Think what you will about that hokey tournament, but the fact that a sub-500 team as a 10 seed got a chance to extend their season may not make sense, but they, as Steve Kerr said, were champions for a night. To me, that's the walk off to the sunset. That's the last dance, if you will. That was it. And I know this isn't going to happen, and I don't do this just to push buttons, but I think that's the perfect opportunity to say thank you so much and go in this new direction. But I think it's going to get clunky. I think they're going to try and extend Steph, which is just going to it's got to be the max, Eb. They're going to give that dude $71 million a year, 67 and then 71, which is really a lot of money for a guy who's at the age of 40 and going to be older than 40. It's something you just have to think long and hard about. And none of these decisions are easy, but I think you have to weigh sort of loyalty and sentimentality. And on the other hand, think about being a good basketball team again that's young.
All right, Paul's in Palo Alto. Paul, what's going on? Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. It's a pretty interesting conversation. I kind of wanted to just jump in and play a little make-believe with you all. So,
of course.
I've got a question for you guys, especially for Dan, because I think Dan seems to have a clear idea as to how he would go about this. And just to preface this, I've seen how Lacob has maybe rubbed some of his own front office members and coaching staff guys and players a certain way and how they've left. This Kerr thing kind of reminds me of the Bob Meyer situation, and Bob was just way more affable and kind of laughed it off. But you could tell there was some friction and there wasn't a whole lot of, there wasn't a common interest at the end of that relationship, and it kind of feels like that again with Kerr. So assuming that Kerr's gone, and I think that maybe is best for both the organization and Kerr himself, what are you doing at the GM position? Are you letting Mike Dunleavy hire the next coach? And assuming that Curry and Dre say, I'm willing to play the last year out, but don't expect me to sign any extensions, are you going to explore trade? And what direction do you go in, actual names of head coaches and players that you would target to start the rebuild?
Well, if this is directed at me, I haven't gotten that far along, and as far as who is going to be the replacement.
Oh, as far as coaches?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be someone younger. It's probably going to be somebody outside the box.
There's somebody there, though. You can't tell me that.
Steve Kerr was an outside the box hire.
Yeah, there's somebody that we haven't even thought of that's sitting on a bench right now, or there's somebody that's just that people in the know, in the NBA know that this guy he's going to be the next. And obviously, there's no guarantees.
Todd Golden.
Danny Hurley.
His son.
I would take Hurley, but he ain't leaving UConn. Todd Golden might leave, though. He might leave. All right, we got to hit a break here on 95.7 The Game. Warriors This Week continues. 1 hour left with Devone, Giddings, Risotto back after this.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Football fans, history is calling as San Francisco heads down under for the first ever game in Australia. Join the action in Melbourne with true fan travel as San Francisco takes on Los Angeles at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground. Premium hotel stay, epic all-inclusive events, city tours, wildlife adventures, meet and greet with a red and gold legend, and unforgettable moments. Spots are limited. Don't miss out on your shot to experience San Francisco down under. Head to truefantravel.com. That's truefantravel.com.
Hey, Bay Area, it's Guru. You know what's really bugging you? It's not your fantasy team or the refs. It's the bugs in your house. ants stealing snacks, spiders showing up uninvited, that's when you head straight to AtcoPest.com. Atco Pest Control has been handling Bay Area pest problems safely and naturally for over 40 years, protecting your family and your pets without breaking the bank. Get the details now at AtcoPest.com. ATCO Pest.com. Atco's got you covered.
Step back into a darker chapter of San Jose history. Join History San Jose at noon on May 2nd for a special book talk featuring St. James Park, a gripping novel set during the Great Depression and inspired by the infamous 1933 Brook Hart kidnapping. Author John Dahl brings this powerful story to life, exploring labor unrest, corruption, and the forces that shaped our community, themes that still resonate today. Books will be available for purchase. Visit historysanjose.org for details and tickets.
This is Larry Flick, owner of The Floor Store. Our spring sale, now through April 27th, means up to 50% off every product store-wide, plus 2 full years of interest-free financing. Visit floorstores.com for directions. The Floor Store, your Bay Area flooring authority.
Draft Spotlights are brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. Carnell Tate from Ohio State is the best receiver in this draft, and he's going to be the first wide receiver taken. First of all, he's big. He's been well coached, as all the receivers that come out of Ohio State are, but he's a difference maker because of his ability to adjust to the ball in the air, his route running, and he's a game changer. He could go as early as 5 to the team in New York. He could go to Cleveland at 6 or the team in Washington at 7.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Kendall Jackson is partnering with 95.7 The Game to give our listeners a chance to win a chef's small plates and pairings experience at the Kendall Jackson Wine Estate and Gardens in Santa Rosa. For more info and to enter our contest, visit 957thegame.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to Warriors This Week on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah. All right, Evan Giddings, Dan Devone, 1 hour left. Final Warriors This Week of the season, 2025-26, comes to a conclusion last night in Phoenix for the Dubs. And right now on the line, the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands, and Lathrop? None other than Dr. Joaquin Wallace, friend of the program, friend of mine, color analyst for the Santa Cruz Warriors. What's going on, Doc? How you doing?
I mean, I'm not doing too well right now.
Yeah.
I thought the Warriors would be able to pull it out, my friend.
I got you. Well, kind of take us through the last couple of games by your vantage point. Wednesday was this sensational high where the champions looked like champions. They got to the game last night. I kind of felt like they ran out of steam. But, what did you make about just the conclusion of the year for Golden State?
Well, I thought that, we go into the game against the Clippers, and I felt that, I listed my keys to the game, and they was able to nail all of those. But I thought the effort that they had to put into that game really took a lot out of them, because you have to consider they are the oldest team by numbers in regards to roster construction.
Yeah.
And then to come back against a team that's the number 14th in regards to roster construction within a day in between. And you heard Coach Kerr say that they didn't even practice on Thursday because of that. And you can tell that the Suns just ambushed them from the start. They understood the assignment, if you will. And in particular, you looked at Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, who didn't do well last time that they locked horns with the Rockets, and so they had a chip on their shoulders as well. And Jalen Green has been outstanding the last 2 games. They didn't have an answer for him, and he was pretty much the recipe for success for the Suns.
Hey, Doc, any of the guys that you saw up close and personal, the Nate Williams, the L.J. Cryers, the Bassies of the world, do they have any future with the Warriors or any run with this team going forward?
Well, the one player that I really do like is L.J. Cryer. I think he has an NBA runway. Although he doesn't have the size, but he's a smaller guard. But the one thing that he can do, and they show glimpses of it while he was playing on the roster, that he can put the ball in the basket. I mean, that's the one thing he can do. He can get to the line. He can create inside. He gets his guys involved as well, but he has the ability to make shots, and he's from that Kelvin Sampson school of defense, so he's not afraid to put his put defense on as the main agenda for himself. So I do believe he has a chance. Bassie, we had him for a few games rather, and he's signed a couple of 10-day contracts as well with other teams. He's the NBA guy. Hopefully he'll get his chance to get an opportunity to get on the roster, get a long look at him. And Nate Williams, we didn't really have a chance to see him a lot because the first game that he played, I think he scored like 30 points. And then next thing you know, he was elevated to the roster, came down and played a few games. But there's another NBA guy that the Warriors do have on the roster, but they have to get younger. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the roster itself, they're longer in the tooth, as I've always said. And so they need to be younger to compete with these younger teams in the West.
Dr. Joaquin Wallace joining us here on 95.7 The Game on the River Islands guest line, color analyst for the Santa Cruz Warriors. Doc, I do got to ask you about Steve Kerr and, you with head coaching experience and having seen, sort of what the Warriors way is down at the G League level, but obviously extends to the big league club. What do you think the Warriors should do with him this summer? And, kind of what did you make of his comments and just, I would say his body language, very emotional. It felt like after those 2 games on Wednesday and then last night. I don't know if it's necessarily the end, but I'm just kind of curious as to your thoughts and what you think the Warriors should do this summer.
But that's a great question because at the end of the game, when I seen them embrace with Draymond, Steph and himself, it looked as though he was resigned to the fact that this may be over. You never know. I know that it takes a lot to coach, obviously, and it's very emotional as well. And at some point, he wants to get back to just being a regular person, if you will. But the Warriors itself, that's a tough situation because I believe Steph has 1 year left on his contract. I believe that's the number that he has. And I know Steve Kerr is not going to go anywhere else to coach because you don't want to be in a rebuild situation there. I know that he would love the opportunity to coach Steph one last time. But I think if they do that, I think the brass will have to construct a team that can last beyond 1 year. And I think that the fans understand that as well because we are coming to the end. As I mentioned earlier, they're the oldest team in the NBA. So they have to get younger at the same time. But he has to, I do believe, if he's looking at it, he has to see a future, a pathway, how they can compete without Steph. Because eventually, you know how it is, Father Time is undefeated and is ramping up really quickly with these Warriors. Outside of LeBron James, he's been able to figure out a recipe to outpace Father Time. But for the most part, and Steph as well too with injuries, but they have to construct a roster that will give him a chance to go beyond 1 to 2 years, probably 3 to 4 years. Like you said, it has to make sense in regards to the contract.
Yeah, and obviously, Doc, there's that's the biggest domino that has to fall in regards to the head coach. But as you mentioned, Curry has 1 more year left. Draymond has 1 more year left. Are you of the belief if you are trying to kind of get younger? I don't know if turning the page on Curry yet is the way that you feel, but do you believe that this summer, especially on the heels of a 37-win season where Curry missed the majority of the year, do you feel like the Warriors, if he wants it, should extend him this summer?
I firmly believe so, because I don't believe – think of it this way. There is no coach that can come in and coach the Warriors with Curry right now, right? Because they sit in his ways. I mean, they run their offense, their split action, their Zoom series. They have this offense in stone. So I don't think anyone's going to be able to come in and say, hey, Steph, we're going to do it this way. This is how we're going to do it. That's not going to work between Steph and Draymond Green. We know it's not going to work with Draymond. So I do believe that they extend him out another year or kind of match his contract. But I don't believe that you're going to give him a one-year contract. That doesn't make any logical sense. So I think they would have to extend it for multiple years and then again try to get younger, because as we all know, eventually, unfortunately, I know the Warrior fans don't want to hear this, but unfortunately and realistically, Steph Curry is going to retire and not play basketball no more for the Warriors at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. We're chatting with Dr. Joaquin Wallace here on the River Islands guest line on 95.7 The Game, color analyst for the Santa Cruz Warriors. Just a couple more for you, Doc. You know, what kind of player do you think, and I know it's a ways off, but the Warriors did, by virtue of losing last night, give themselves a lottery pick. Who knows what it could be, but you know, what kind of player would you like to see step in to this sort of aging group if they choose to run it back? You know, what kind of player would you like to see them try and acquire?
I'll tell you what, here's the thing with the Warriors. They run such a complex offense. Not everyone can buy in immediately. So you have to look at it from that perspective as well, too. Who could you bring in that can adapt to this offense? Because it's a selfless offense, and it's based around Steph Curry. He creates so much gravitation on the floor, everyone else has to be able to step up. You need to have someone that's athletic. You have to have someone that's long enough defensively that can defend at a high level and really not look for their shot. But when the offense does come your way, you have the ability to knock down shots. A perimeter player like a nice 3, a 3-and-D guy, about 6'7", 6'8", that can play inside and play outside, play the next generation, if you will. But that person has to be in a position and understand that this is not their team right now. They'll have this like OJT, on-the-job training, if you will. They have to learn how to play within the system. And again, we look at Steve Kerr. How long is he going to be there? Is it going to be a 2 to 3 year extension? Because then you can develop someone. If it's a 1 year deal, now they probably will look at, we need to get someone that can win now versus in the future.
If you had to, just some funny money to throw around, Doc, how would you place a bet? Steve Kerr walking and not being head coach next season, him signing a 1 year deal, or him getting a multiple year extension? Which way would you lean?
Man, I tell you what. Yeah,
it's tough.
I know that he wants. I know that's a tough question, Evan. I know that he wants. I don't think any coach would sign a 1 year deal, right? I mean, I don't think that would happen. That's not smart. So I'm thinking probably 2 to 3 years. But again, is the brass comfortable enough to do that? That's what it comes down to. Yeah. Do they want to turn the page eventually? Because eventually, again, this team that we see, this iteration that we see today, is not going to be the same team we see next year. So we have to consider that. You're looking at a team that's aging. And we're hoping that Jimmy Butler comes back and can kind of regain his form. We're hoping that Moody can come back. We're hoping that Horford, if he does come back, can give us minutes. We're hoping that we're thinking. So we have all this hope in mind, and we know keep hope alive, if you will. But at the end of the day, they need to have individuals that can compete now if they're going to bring Steve Kerr back, because I can't see him in a rebuild mode. He's earned the right not to be in a rebuild situation.
I got you, Doc. Well, hey, look, we really appreciate your time. I'm sorry we had to chat today about a loss and kind of all these existential questions, but we appreciate your time very much, and it's good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks for having me on board. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Dr. Joaquin Wallace joining us on the River Islands guest line, color analyst for the Santa Cruz Warriors. Yeah, I mean, these are all, I think, really tough questions, because I just, again, it feels like the Warriors have kicked a lot of these decisions down the road. And who knows, they might do it again, right? If you sign Kerr to a 1-year deal, that's kind of what you're doing. You're kicking the can down the road again. But because you haven't picked a lane or a path, Dan, it just feels like all of these options lead back to the same place, which is probably right where they were this year, playing basketball.
Yeah, you're going to look at a team this year, because I know how this is going to work. You're going to bring in some veteran, and you're going to try and run it back with these guys because you feel a sense of loyalty, and it's Steve Kerr and it's Steph, and you can't break them up. And Steph, at the end of the day, you would never consider trading him, even though it potentially could improve your team. I would push back. Somebody else said earlier that nobody's willing to trade for Steph Curry. That might be true, but I got to get on the horn and find out. And so I think
someone would.
Yeah, and it's they would trade for him, but it's just, are they willing to give up all those draft picks? Maybe I don't get all 11 of those draft picks from that of Charlotte, but if I can get multiple number ones in this first round upcoming, then I'm pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah, it could definitely kickstart something. Right now the Warriors are going to wait to see where that lottery ball falls. I know a lot of people are hoping that it's going to be in the top 4, and maybe it's a game-changing kind of player. I think either way, though, what they're after the loss, they would be was it 13? 13 right now? 12 or 13?
13, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, at that point, you're looking at. I think there's going to be a guy who can help you. Maybe it's not
there'll be somebody who can help you. You can find someone in the low first round.
Yeah, and maybe it's not a all-star kind of player, unless, of course, you get lucky and the lottery sort of goes your way. But I do think they'll be able to find a talent who can help. And who knows, maybe it's helping Curry, Draymond, and Kerr next year. Maybe it's just helping Steph. Who knows? Let's go to Mike. Mike is in Hayward. Wants to talk about the Warriors. How you doing, Mike? What's going on?
Hey, brothers. How's it going? Hey, in my opinion, I think you just give Kerr, Steph, Draymond 2-year deals and just have them go out swing, and it probably won't become anything, but it's the right thing to do. But I think my question is, and I want to ask you guys this: after those 2 years, it's going to be a lot of tanking and a lot of first-round picks. How confident are you guys with the Warriors using those first-round picks? And, let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, and we can combine Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, Dunleavy, Joe Lacob even. And you got to remember, Myers didn't draft our big 3, Steph, Draymond, Clay. That was Jerry West. So taking those 3 out, how would he even rate their drafting ability, and how confident are you guys with even doing a rebuild? Because right now the Warriors could have had Jalen Johnson and Tyrese Maxey on our team, and we wouldn't even be going through this. I'll take my call off there.
Appreciate the call, Mike. I mean, I think that's a little unfair. I think Jalen Johnson was like the 20th overall pick, and Maxey was also in the 20s, if I'm not mistaken. So like a lot of teams missed on those guys. I think that's a little unfair. But
what about Halliburton? Would you say that's fair? When you're picking at number 2, it's kind of like there weren't a lot of people that were saying Therese Halliburton.
No, and there were people that were saying Halliburton, but Halliburton was picked, 7th? I mean, it might have been later. It wasn't as if he was the 3rd overall pick. I mean, to me, if you want to say you should have taken LaMelo, I'll hear that because he was right there. And to me, it was Ant, it was Wiseman, and LaMelo. From what I remember, those were the consensus top 3 guys. But you wanted a center. They wanted the big of the future.
I have trust in Dunleavy.
Well, he's done nothing as far as drafting that would lead me to believe that he's not going to get a player who can help. I mean, people might not like Myers' draft history or the Warriors' draft history in general, but in his 4, I think he said, he got Pods at 19. That's a good pick at 19. Sorry. Quentin Post at 52. He helped you. Trace Jackson Davis the year before that.
Hello.
And then he got Will Richard in, 56 this year? Do I have full confidence that Mike Dunleavy Jr. is going to hit the nail on the head and get the star of the future in here at number 13, I think that's a lot to ask, but I feel pretty good that he's going to get you a guy that can help.
You know, I'm noticing something here. Maybe, again, I'm just the outlier here. Wouldn't be the first time, but...
On our YouTube chat was saying Halliburton was 12th. That's from Ryan Chung. So yeah, it's like... If he really was the second best consensus player, I don't think he would have fallen to 12.
It just seems as though, if I'm to read the pulse right of all of you out there in Dub Nation, 95.7 The Game land, Bay Area, basketball fans, it seems as though fans are okay writing out the final year or 2 years and just letting this thing just play out and staying and have a loyalty and maintaining that sort of the connection with Draymond and Steph and Steve Kerr. And then just when everything comes off the books, we can start anew then. Like, let's just run this back one more time. And I'm somewhat surprised, Dev. I'm a little surprised. Maybe it's just, maybe you're right. We always talk about, maybe I have spent too much time in New York. I don't understand this, that if it's about winning, that you're willing to just, knowing how this is going to turn out, that, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that's just the way people are, that, yeah, we're willing to lose because we want to do the right thing at the end of the day, whatever that means when it comes to being loyal or having the the sentiment in line with Steve Kerr and Draymond Green and Steph Curry. Because the way I see this, Warrior fans, is that you're going to look back on this in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Maybe your kids will think about this period in Warrior basketball, and you're going to look back on these last 3 years, maybe the last 4 years, and you're going to say, man, we really screwed the pooch. We had a chance, but we went down like every other dynasty, and we've been in a rebuild for the last 15 years. I mean, I don't know. I gave you the example of the Detroit Pistons, who went 18 years in between playoff appearances, so it can happen. But if you guys, listen, I don't want to get in the way if you guys are hitched to this idea that we'd rather just do it this way and not be disruptive, because Steve Kerr's a nice guy. We love Steph. We love Draymond. And we love what it is that they've been able to create, and I'm hanging on to those memories, then God bless, do you. But I'm just telling you, when you look back on this in retrospect, there might be a lot of, wow, we should have done it a different way if we really wanted to be good. But maybe being good and winning championships or getting back into the conversation of relevancy and winning Western Conference championships does not necessarily preside at the end of the day.
Well, I don't think there's any guarantee that you're going to be good. I think that's kind of the issue, is that if you turn this thing into dust, that doesn't guarantee you a spot at the table in 5 years. You know, maybe this is where we just philosophically differ. Just because you suck next season doesn't mean you still might be bad for 15 years. Like, you might be bad for 15 years regardless. And that's kind of the way this franchise has gone, right? I mean,
But they're playing it safe, and I would rather take the risk, I guess is what I'm saying. And you're right. There's risk involved in all of this.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that my way is the better way. You know, if you roll it back out next season, likely what's going to happen is what happened this year. But I would say this, I mean, hypothetically, which I'm not trying to sell people on ping pong balls, but what if the Dallas Mavericks happens to the Warriors? And maybe it's not even a number one pick, but it's like a top 5 pick. Well, then you kind of accomplished what you're asking for and what a lot of people have wanted, while also giving yourself this moment. Like, that to me, in a way, would be threading the needle, because you still got a great moment against the Clippers. Fans who are of the belief that Steph is still great and can still carry you. You got a moment where you got to relive the glory days. Maybe it's the last dance with Kerr and Draymond and Steph together. And then you also got a quality player out of it in a good draft. You know, I mean, that to me would be the perfect confluence of this season and this summer. I mean, that's best case scenario, in my opinion.
I'm a little greedy. I need more than one of those. I'm
more
being
than one
straight
pick?
up. I need more. I need a couple
More than
of,
one pick?
I need a couple of top 4 picks.
Yeah. Like, well, the top 4, you want half of them?
Well, I want to get, okay, not top 4. I want a shot at multiple top 10 picks. I want a shot at that at this year's draft because it's so damn good. And that's how greedy and aggressive I am. If I'm, again, the GM, that's the only way that we get out of this.
You don't strike me as a greedy guy.
Well, I am when it comes to Sports Talk Radio.
Especially on draft night. All right, Ray is in San Rafael. Ray, what's going on, man? Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good work, guys. My thought is go nuclear on the team, keep Steve Kerr, and just have him start anew.
Isn't that a bit of a contradiction, though?
Well, I mean, you get rid of everybody else. I mean, my thought is also, like, Steve Kerr is going to be a great coach wherever he goes, and is he either going to go the Greg Popovich route or is he going to go, the Phil Jackson route? I think if he goes somewhere else, he's going to win another championship. Might have to do it with us, with a new team.
Yeah, perhaps, Ray.
Right on.
Appreciate the call.
Good job, Ray.
Well, and this is...
Like Ray, in and out, man.
Yeah, very quick
like
to the
Sugar
point.
Ray, like just a combination, get in and get out. And then dance.
Go nuclear.
Blow it up!
This is... I think that was Shasky. There was something Kerr said...
It's the only guy I've never done a show with. Does Shasky not like me?
Well, you don't want to wake up that early in the morning, I don't think. You're more of a night owl. Although you swim at 3 in the morning.
No, I would never do a show that early.
Can't do a radio show at 6?
We're down bad, dude.
Yeah. Well, not to get a top 4 pick. I think this is the quote, though, from Kerr. I want to play it before we hit a break here. The sense of finality, at least potentially for him.
Sense of finality that is surreal. You just go through the 7-8 months grind, you're game after game, traveling, you're with all these people who you love, and it's so emotional, to go through an entire season. So much happens, and we have so many people in there besides the players who, support staff. We're like family, we really are. And so the season ends, and it's like just bizarre. It's just, all of a sudden your entire existence changes, and you're not convening every day, you're not fighting together, you're not trying to climb to the top of the mountain. And it's part of the beauty of sports and a season. One season is its own journey, and then all of a sudden it's over. Strange feeling, but as I said, very, very grateful to these guys this year for all they've been through, the way they continue to compete and play together. It was special to watch.
All right, I'm not sure. Well, I mean,
a lot of sound and interviews in this segment. Not enough Dan Devone blowing into a microphone.
You got 2 minutes.
I don't have anything.
No, what I was going to say is I think there is, like, we got to be realistic. This group with the Warriors, it's very hard for me to see them contending for a championship between now and whenever Steph chooses to retire. I think Steve Kerr understands that, almost to an extent of resignation. I don't think that's what the Warriors want to hear. I think that his comments about them being a fading dynasty.
That's a good point.
His comments about being a fading dynasty and the reports that it kind of, much to the chagrin of some people in the front office, it's one thing to believe that internally, that you're probably not going to hoist a 5th title. It's another thing to have your coach kind of flat out say it. And I do think that there is something to that where if you bring him back, you're also bringing back the understanding that he kind of knows that this thing is winding down. And it's almost as if, would you bring in someone else who has a bit more fire, a bit more, kind of blind trust that you can extract whatever's left out of this dynasty.
Yeah, you don't want Tony Vitello, but I'm with you. It sounds, you know what it sounds like? He sounds old.
Yeah.
And what they need is somebody, yes, younger, who's just a red ass who wakes up every day and is like, how can I win? How can I win a title? How can I win a Western Conference championship? Albeit he's going to sound like a lunatic, but that's got to be the thought process. Not, I'm an older guy and I like Steph and I just enjoy being around these young people because I want to mold minds. That will go teach at be an adjunct professor at the University of California, but don't coach my basketball team. And that sounds harsh. I love Steve, but he sounds like an old man.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 888-957-9570 is the number. I see you, Jimmy. I see you, Mitch. We're going to get to your calls on the other side. One segment left in the final Warriors this week of the 2025-26 season. Devone Giddings back after this.
Hello, San Francisco Bay Area. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account and participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Whether you're renovating or building new, Ashby Lumber and Marvin help bring your vision to life with bold design and unmatched performance. In the Bay Area, your home is everything, and the right door makes all the difference. Discover Marvin Elevate and Vivid Doors, crafted for expansive views, natural light, and seamless indoor-outdoor living. Available at Ashby Lumber, your trusted local partner for premium building materials. Visit Ashby Lumber in Berkeley or Concord or learn more at marvin.com. Marvin, designed for how you live.
All right, I need avocados, bananas, salad, steak.
Wow, does your grocery list have multiple pages?
No, but I skipped lunch, so now it's like my stomach is doing the grocery shopping. And besides, I'm earning cash back with Upside.
Upside? What's that?
Hold up, you haven't heard of it? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you shop at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. And they added Lucky and Food Max stores, so we're pretty much covered wherever we go.
All those stores?
Yep, so not only are we getting a great deal on groceries, now we can earn cash back as well.
Okay, downloading Upside. Now let me copy your grocery list.
Great news! Lucky and Food Max are now on Upside. Download the Upside app and use the promo code SAVE9 to earn a 10% cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code SAVE9 for a 10% cashback bonus. Use promo code SAVE9.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to Upside.com for terms and conditions.
The basketball playoffs are underway, and now you can trade every game on Kelsey. You can also trade on who wins each series, the conference finals, and the championship. San Antonio is trading at 18% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out $525 if they take the title. On Kelsey, you're trading against other people in a live market. No house, no odds makers. And as the odds move, you can buy in and out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kelsey app and use code FAN to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI. Kelsey. Trade on anything.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
Elevate your kitchen at the Mila Innovation Center at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill. Out of your dreams and into your kitchen. Select the qualifying built-in kitchen appliance package that is right for you. With unrivaled technology and luxury-grade quality, when you bring home a Mila, you're bringing home true innovation. Now, for a limited time, save up to 10% with the purchase of a qualifying Mila kitchen package. Visit the Mila Innovation Center at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or at friedmansappliance.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Brought to you by Bank of America. Turn the house you want into the home you own with help from Bank of America's Community Homeownership Commitment. In select markets, get up to $17,500 when combining offering down payment and closing cost grants. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America N.A. Equal housing lender. Credit and collateral are subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
The 2026 Mountain Winery concert season is here, with performances by Dana Carvey and David Spade in June, Trevor Noah in July, and many more. To see the 2026 schedule and a chance to win tickets to one of the shows, courtesy of Mountain Winery, visit 957thegame.com.
Now back to Warriors This Week on 95.7 The Game.
Let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah, man. Look, sometimes you got to celebrate even when things are down. Pasta's dancing in the back.
He's having dinner with his girlfriends, his fiance's parents tonight.
Hey, Adri. Hey.
Hey.
Can people on YouTube hear this, by the way?
No, they can't. We look like a bunch of idiots.
Bunch of coconuts jumping around here. Pasta, what is this?
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Oh, nice.
Is this from Beetlejuice? No.
I don't think so, but my favorite is at the beginning where it goes, ole, 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 ole. Great song.
All right. Well, this will be on at Celia's tonight. I got you. Dan Devone, Evan Giddings, Pasta's in the house.
Will you go strawberry marg tonight?
I'm not drinking. I can't give off that impression.
That you drink?
Well, he doesn't really, actually.
No, he doesn't. He's a two-shot Shakur.
I have with Evan.
Yeah, I know. It's two-shot Shakur. In and out. All right, let's. I do want to get to all your calls though. We got one segment left here on Warriors This Week before we wrap up this season. We'll still be around on Saturdays, just a little less Warriors intensive. So this last segment's for anybody out there that wants to get some final thoughts in on the year, and also praise Dan Devone if you want. 888-957-9570 is the number. Let's go out to Mitch. Mitch is in Jersey. What's up, Mitchie? What's happening?
What's poppin'? What's cracking? How you doing, Evan? Dan?
My man.
So, Dan, you have the power to see who could be the next coach. How about the North Carolina coach that was let go? Hubert Davis?
Oh, Hubie?
Would that be suffice? Yeah, that'd be a start. And Kerr's had a great career. Let's not blame him. I want to see Green go. I'll drive him to the airport. Not a problem. It's going to be an excuse to get out of here. See the other side of the country. And we have to get lucky. Even whether it's like Cooper Flag lucky, that'd be incredible. But we have to get somebody at 12 that we can pick, and maybe I don't know who we can trade and get another first-round pick in this draft. It's deep, but we have to get 2 starts. And I guess with the oldest team, it definitely eliminates us from signing LeBron. I think he's going to stay with the Lakers. Especially, it's a package deal because his son, I don't know, leaves a lot to desire, Bronny. He should have stayed. Maybe go back to USC. Who knows? But what do you think? Santos is good. He's a keeper. I like Paz. And, of course, I like the Anthony Melton, but I think 2 of those 3 are going to be gone. And we got to sign a couple of free agents, young guys preferably.
Thanks, Mitchie.
I got you, Mitch. Strong. Right. Strong, buddy.
Have a good one.
You too, man. You too. Don't be a stranger.
Bronny James sucks.
What's poppin'?
Dude, there was a play in the Lakers game last week of the season. Bronny was bringing it up, and he got picked at midcourt by Malachi Leons.
Yeah, I remember that. It was the best play of the game.
For who? Leons?
For the Warriors. Because they lost.
They did get blown out in that game. Braun looked pretty good. Looked pretty good against a lot of the Santa Cruz guys, that's for sure. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy's in Bayview. Jimmy, welcome, man. Appreciate you. What's going on?
Hey, guys. How you doing? First of all, I think the Warriors got to sort out, if they're going to make this a circus, like parade Kerr, Curry, and Draymond around, for this, walk around the elephants and the lions for everybody to see. Because that's different from actually winning. And my other question is, like, what? Because we won that play-in game, do we go from 11th pick to the 13th pick so that, like, the Clippers and Miami pick in front of us now? That's my other question. And I was really disappointed in how Draymond ended that thing. I mean, we are not the bad boys, I mean, and I don't know if people really want to stomach that from Draymond for another year or two, if they want to re-up this for 2 years, because that's the question. Are we re-upping this for a year or 2 years? Are we going to sign Curry? Are we going to sign Kerr for 2 years? Are we going to sign Draymond for 2 years? So it's almost like, is this a 2 years proposition or nothing? So, what do you guys think?
I got you, Jimmy. Well, this was from Brett Siegel, and I also saw this in Yahoo Sports. So apparently the Warriors would have the 11th best odds in the lottery because they didn't make it out of the play-in, and they finished bottom 11. So they would have a 2% chance at the number 1 overall pick. I don't know what the percentage is for the top 4, but they have the 11th best odds, essentially. That's not really a strategy, though. They just depend on...
Wait, how can they have the 11th best odds? I thought that would go to the Clippers.
This is just at the end of the regular season. All right.
Well, after the play-in, the Clippers get the 11th.
So I'm not sure if just because you win to get to the 8th seed game...
whether that counts?
Yeah, because technically you're still not a playoff team. Like Portland has the 15th pick because they got out of the play-in. But Charlotte finished with a better record than the Warriors. Miami, Clippers, the same. So
that makes sense.
Point is, the Warriors have a very slim chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, and hopefully they do. By the way, so do the Thunder because they have the Clippers pick this year.
That's crazy,
which is pretty incredible. But yeah, I think. All right, so this is what we were talking about right before the break, and I feel a little more strongly about it now. I think that one of the reasons I wouldn't foresee the Warriors bringing Steve Kerr back is because I do feel like his honesty this season has revealed a sense of resignation and a sense of reality. I mean, he's been very honest about where he believes this team is, where the dynasty is at, and their chances potentially to compete both this year and in the future. If you're an employer, I think it's hard to sell your fan base or your whatever your demographic is on someone who doesn't fully believe that you can succeed. I just think it's hard to do. And again, I totally understand why Kerr feels that way. He's seen the highest of highs. He's won 9 championships between a player and head coach. He's seen it all. And he knows. He knows this team is probably not going to contend for a title the next couple of seasons, that they are probably going to have to turn the page very soon. But if you're Lacob or other members of that front office, do you really want your leader or your communicator, your head coach, admitting that publicly? Because he's going to do it next year. Next year is going to be maybe even harder than this season because you're not going to have Jimmy Butler for half the year. And who knows how many games Porzingis could play if you bring him back. Horford the same, Curry with the runner's knee. Draymond played a full season this year. I don't know if he can do that at age 37. So if you do run this thing back with Kerr, I think you're going to have a lot of those press conferences where he's going to be brutally honest about where they are. And I'm just not sure the Warriors are interested in that.
I was hoping that Steve Kerr would, because he's always been good at reading the room. And this is what I thought going into the final months or even the final year of his contract, is that he was going to walk away. because he understood, because he's so smart that he's the last guy I would think that would try and hang on. But it looks as though that's exactly what he's trying to do. If I was to read him correctly at his press conference, he was telling everybody, I don't want to walk away from Steph, and I'd actually like to do this because I don't care that we're losing. I just enjoy being around these young men and teaching, and that's sort of who I am. And I was hoping that he would just understand that this does not involve me and be that guy that leaves and do it on his own volition. But instead, he's forcing their hand. He's like, if you want to get rid of me, then you're going to have to fire me, essentially, is what this boils down to. And I'm sort of surprised that Steve isn't just going to take the time off and then come to a realization that, yeah, I'm going to do something else.
I mean, maybe he will. You know, I know he said that he wouldn't want to coach anywhere else and he wouldn't want to coach with Steph, but if I'm San Antonio and this postseason doesn't go the way that I want, why wouldn't I think about hiring Steve Kerr?
I like Mitchie Johnson, man.
He's fine.
But
we don't know how he is in the postseason.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We're going to find out. I mean, if they get beat by Portland, which I don't think is off the table, by the way.
We talked about that.
Portland's pretty good. But if you're a team like Denver and Adelman doesn't have the goods, you know, maybe you make that. Maybe you make that decision. I think there's a lot of teams that would consider hiring Steve Kerr. I don't know if there's a lot of places Steve Kerr would consider going.
I don't think I believe him when he said he wouldn't go anywhere. He's not a mercenary. He's not going anywhere. That I do believe. I believe that at this age, his kids are here. He's here. He's not going anywhere. We're here in San Diego.
He's empty nester. CC's in Daly City. This is your CC?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
She's ever been to Daly City in her life.
Hey, CC, what's going on? How you doing?
Oh, another great day. Hey, just a few opinions, and there's tons of opinions. I feel Steve Kerr, you know, he's burnt out. He's burnt out. It just, he doesn't have the energy. It feels like he fell out of love with it a little bit, and that happened. So, okay, I definitely would keep Draymond Green. Definitely. Why? Draymond Green plays hard. Last night, what Draymond Green did, hey, he got Devin Booker thrown out of the game. It was entertaining and it was funny, but Draymond Green plays hard. And you talk about possible replacements. Let's just say his energy's bad, his age. Well, if you look at, like, let's just say Rick Pitino, Calipari, not to say they would be replacements, they're much older than Kerr and have a lot more, energy. I don't think Kerr has the energy. You talk about Danny Hurley. Danny Hurley's going to, come in and make a difference. I'm not sure what the difference would be, but it definitely needs to be a change. And I think the change comes with everybody but Curry and Green. Podziemski would be a great trade pick. You can get rid of him. Melton, man, no way you pay him the money. He cannot finish down low. He's a great backup. The best coaching move Steve Kerr did this year was against the Clippers when he only had an 8-man rotation. But Podziemski's tradable. Santos is tradable. I wouldn't spend the money on Porzingis. And, hey, let's sign Mac McClung. Let's get some excitement here. But I think Steve Kerr is burnt out, and it's probably time for a change.
Is he yanking our chain?
Appreciate the call, CC.
CC, I disagree with every damn thing you just said. I think he's just feeding the beast, is he? Is he just trying to end Warriors this week by lighting our fire?
No, I was with him for a little bit.
He lost me at hello.
He lost me at Mac McClung.
He lost me at Draymond. I think that when you think about Draymond Green, he was amazing on Wednesday. And again, Wednesday was incredible. That was their last dance. But that's not who Draymond was throughout the entire season. Let's not forget the numerous conversations you had with your boys, Guru and company, about putting him on the bench and the turnovers.
Yeah.
And just he locked up Kawhi for a half. But let's not discount the body of work over 82 games.
Well, you saw it this year, and you've seen it throughout his career. Without Steph Curry on the court, he's not the same player, and he might not be the same player regardless. So, in a way, the only way that this might sound strange, the way that I would trust Draymond to come back next season invigorated would be if he doesn't make that all-defense team that he clearly was gunning for this year. Because he wants to have 10 on his resume, because he wants to be with those 5 other greats that have made 10 All-NBA defensive teams, the Kobes, the Duncans, the Pippins. He wants to be with Jabbar. He wants to be with those guys. And if he doesn't, that's kind of all he has left, I think, to go for as far as individual accolades. But if he is, and I don't think he deserves to be on one of those defensive teams this season, but if he is, well, then he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anything to go for the last couple of years. And then I'm wondering, what? Draymond might play 40 games next year.
I would try. I know you can't get anything for him, but if I can package him with Jimmy Butler, I am looking. I am looking to move him. If you want to know what it is that I would do, I'm looking. You know this.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I don't bring him back is because if I do go young, I don't think he's good for younger players. I know that's counter to popular belief that he's a really good mentor and he teaches.
Draymond or Jimmy?
Draymond. Because he intimidates younger players. He inhibits younger players. I think when he's off the floor and I'm a young player and I feel as though I'm a little bit more liberated and I can do what it is that I want to do. I think that he bullies younger players. I don't think that he's constructive. I know he knows the game and he's smart as hell. He might be the smartest player I've ever seen and maybe the best defender I've ever seen, but I don't think that translates to the younger players. I don't know of a lot of younger players that say Draymond's been the reason why I've been able to develop. I don't think he's good. If this team is indeed going to rebuild and hit reset, I don't think he's a good mix in terms of leading that new iteration of the Golden State Warriors. I don't think he's that's not something he does well.
Let's go out to B-Town. Talk to Larry, who's in Berkeley. Larry, welcome to the show. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey there, guys. Can you hear me?
Now we got you, Larry.
There are 4 words which underscore why you guys are incorrect. And listen to them. Lightning in a bottle. In 2023, did you actually think the Warriors would win a championship? In the game against the Clippers, you saw a team that was inspired, and the defense at the end was through the roof. And it had 2 big guys, which the Warriors have never had. Everybody played the way those championship teams played. They used it all up. They did not have the energy to carry it forward against the Phoenix team that they won 3 out of 4. And the last thing is injuries. For God's sakes, you throw it any way you want. This is really the first time the Warriors came together at the end healthy. Usually they get into the playoffs like last year and they're wiped out with injuries. Now they were healthy, but the trouble is they never played together, for God's sakes. They had, like, with Porzingis and Horford, what did they play, 2 games together? Ignoring all of that, and Kerr and Green and Curry know all of this. They know they can catch lightning in a bottle. They got to get to the playoffs healthy and having played together. They haven't done that. You honestly think Kerr is ready to leave? Any of them ready to leave after all of that? I can't imagine it. And most Warriors fans deep down will tell you the same thing I'm telling you.
Hey,
Just
Larry,
look at the reality. And go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? What makes you confident that this team can stay healthy next season?
What makes me confident that any team can? Look at, Tatum's a miracle, right? That's a bloody miracle. But most of the time, you're not going to have that. It's a crapshoot. That's the whole thing. You can talk about trade choices or anything else. Getting to the playoffs healthy is a crapshoot. It doesn't matter who your team is. You've seen it forever. So knowing all of that and knowing the odds of even the Warriors getting there healthy, this was kind of miraculous. They actually got there healthy, but unfortunately didn't play together, and they were really too old or too inexperienced to take that team and carry over what they did against it. But let me tell you, that Clippers game was an eye-opener. That was the team I actually thought when they got Porzingis with Horford that they should have. They didn't have the missing piece. Porzingis, if they had Moody and somebody they could draft and Jimmy coming back, it's a possibility. So you're not going to turn this completely over when you got lightning in a bottle.
Larry, let me suggest one thing for you. Do you drink, my man? Do you enjoy a beverage from time to time?
Very rarely.
Rarely, you said?
Oh, rarely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got to say, a couple of teenagers sat down next to me yesterday night at the bar in the Marriott Hotel and said, "Hey, you want to do shots?" I didn't even know what the hell they meant.
Well, I was going to say, just get your favorite, if you did drink, get your favorite bottle of alcohol. And then that game of Wednesday night, just replay that for the next year to 5 years. Like, that's the memory you're going to have. And just replay Wednesday night because that was beautiful, man. That was poetry.
Yes, it
but
was.
Larry, I got to tell you, man, it ain't going to happen again. and that's not something that you want to buy into in terms of the future. Just get that bottle of whatever it is, drink it, replay that game, and go to bed, my man, because it ain't happening again. But it was fun. It was fun for a night.
Look at what happened. Look at what happened. They won the championship. Nobody would have said the same thing to me. That 2023 team.
I love this guy.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody would have said that. Come on.
Right
this team believes in itself. They got championship DNA. And they believe in lightning in a bottle. There's no other way to say it. 4 words, remember it. That's what's driving all of them.
Wait, is it lightning in a bottle or it's a crapshoot? Which one are we doing?
I got you, Larry. I appreciate the call, man.
Where are we getting in?
Well, the problem really is that, and this is something, I don't want it to be the final note of the show, but
why not? Larry was beautiful.
You got to let go of the past. They won 53 games and were a 3 seed that season. So, yes, I agree they caught lightning in a bottle because there weren't people that believed that they could win a championship, including people on that team. But it was very clear that throughout the year they had the goods. They just needed Curry to get healthy. They brought Klay Thompson back. And in that playoffs, they were electric. But to me, comparing 2022 when Steph was 34 compared to next season when by the end of the year in the playoffs he'll be 39, they're two very different situations.
I think Wednesday was just a thing of beauty. And again, to me, that was the last dance. That was Les Miserables, final night on Broadway.
It was great. It was awesome.
So just hold on to that. Steve Kerr knew it. He was he said as much. Like for one night, F you, Dan Navone, and all of you who thinks we should hit reset. We were champions again, and we're loving it. And that's the end. And curtain, drop the curtain right there.
You put the Kerr and curtain.
Yep.
I think that was also like the same reason why it was beautiful and a fantastic watch and it made so many people feel good is also the same reason why they lost against Phoenix. It's because that's kind of who this team is at this point.
And potentially it's why they're going to lose again next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're hoisting a 5th title. I think they're probably going to do some similar things. I don't know how much flexibility they have. They'll use their pick. Hopefully it's a high one. They'll bring a young guy in here with some talent. Maybe you bring Steve Kerr back. Maybe you don't. But I just feel like, damn, this has been a roller coaster ride of a season. It kind of came to a skidding halt in the play-in. And it did because of injuries and because of age and because of the way the roster was built. But in a way, that Clippers game, like that's kind of what I'm holding on to. Not as a reason to run it, just like lean into the future with it. But if there is a lasting memory of this season, I think it will be that Clippers game for me.
I don't even think it's a season. That goes down as one of the greatest games I think that the Warriors have played during this run. I'm with Steve Kerr on that.
It's been fantastic.
I'm going to get emotional here.
Well, speaking of our run.
Pasta, you've grown so much.
He actually has, though. I think, wait, you're like
Are you still growing?
5'9" now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, thanks, man. This has been a lot of fun. Although, we're still going to be here next Saturday, right?
Like, dude, please, let's not
Well, you know how this goes. They pull the plug, and then they tell us, 7 minutes before the show, and you're going to walk in with your bike and then go back down to La Rocca's.
Dan and Evan, it's been an honor going to war with you guys during this season. And it means a lot to me that I got to do it with you, too.
It has been a lot of fun, Pasta. Sincerely, thank you to everybody this season that's called in, that's texted in, that's been in our YouTube chat, that has contributed to the conversation, that is the Warriors. The Warriors this week and our show, final one for the 25-26 season. We will be back. We'll be here this summer talking about a bunch of other random things that Dan wants to get into. But sincerely, Devon, it's always a lot of fun. I look forward to these shows and appreciate you being... God damn, Pasta! Jesus! I wasn't going to give some big sentimental send-off, but I just wanted to, say whatever. Thank you, man. Jesus.
So next week, we just turn our loaded verbal darts at Buster Posey, Tony Vitello.
Oh, is it really baseball season?
Hell yeah.
Oh, geez.
Giants suck.
Well, no, don't they have the NFL draft's coming up, right?
Oh, that's right.
A week or two, a couple weeks, something like that. I think it might be actually next Saturday. Yeah, the 49ers.
Let's go, man.
Right back in the mix, Dan.
Thank God.
Right back in the mix.
Thank God for
actually,
football.
real quickly, you know how I felt
NFL.
about that Clippers game? The same way I felt about the 49ers win in Philly in that playoff game. It was a great game. The Niners pulled a rabbit out of a hat. The Warriors snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. Their players played great. They'd gone through so much. They dealt with all this injury, and they got one win to help the fans celebrate them one last time.
Hey, do you have a girlfriend now?
And that's all, folks, on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, no.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best